had a story just like anyone else. A wise man said, this too shall pass.
We had noticed she had just gotten weak. I said, what's the matter with you? I said, you're a tumbler. You can tumble and do backflips, you know, without knowing. And it progressed from that to she fainted a couple of times. You know, and we thought it was, oh, she's got a virus or whatever. So I took her into the doctor the next day, and they immediately sent us to Texas Children's Hospital.
She was just, from the moment I met her, she was about 11 years old, she just had a sort of magical presence about her, and nothing would keep that girl down.
Victoria was diagnosed at the age of 11 and a half with acute lymphoblastic leukemia. The cure rate for leukemia is the 80%. When Victoria was told that she had cancer, that's the only time we saw her cry. And Dr. Dreyer walked in and told her that 80%, 85% rate cure. So Victoria accepted that. She said she wasn't worried anymore.
In today's world, we cure, go away forever, about 80% of children. In 1965, we cured 5% of children. So the improvement is unbelievable. And Victoria actually had a particular subtype of ALL that the cure rate should have even been better than that.
Victoria's treatment was to take 2.5 years. And at the end of 2.5 years of chemo, Victoria was to be finished with her treatment.
So during that time, you know, she had some good days, she had some bad days.
When she was sick, she still would put on her cheerleading suit and go do cheerleading. I have lots of pictures and important memories in my office, and one of the ones that I get to see every day is my beautiful picture of Victoria as an angel at our Camp Periwinkle. I'm the camp doctor. I've been the camp doctor for 20 plus years, and I took a little girl who was suffering from cystic fibrosis and cancer, and she was in Tori's cabin. But Victoria would come around, 11:30 in the morning, 12, get this little girl all ready for the day's activities for the afternoon. And she got this little girl ready to go to the dance. I will never forget that little girl at that dance. What a wonderful support Tori was, because without Tori, this little girl would never have had the camp experience that she did.
She feels great. How does my heart sound?
It's a little off. It kind of sounds like a bunny.
Oh.
I like bunnies.
Oh, you like bunnies?
I love them. Okay, you're good.
Okay, thank you. Now I'm going to hand this over to Dr. Frickfrack and see what she has to say.
Well, what's your name again?
My name is, Bunny McBunkbunk.
Well, Bunny McBunkbunk, today our breaking story is about a little dog named Arfie. Let's ask Arfie.
In 2005, Texas children held their first radiothon with the Children's Miracle Network Hospital, and that's where we met Doc.
We were doing a radiothon at a radio station in Houston, Texas, and she was the kind of kid that you could hear her coming long before she got to your soundproof studio. She was very full of energy. She was just 10 or 11 years old and was already considered a long-term survivor of leukemia.
You know, here she is, lying up in bed, tubes connected to her. She didn't go and cry about it or bemoan her situation. She went around to try to visit these other kids to make them feel better. And I think that's the legacy of her.
At the end of 2.5 years, when Victoria's treatment was over, they performed another spinal tap and a bone marrow test. The Dr. Dreyer called us. I remember it was a Thursday, and she said, "I cannot believe this, but Victoria has relapsed." Because of the seriousness of her relapse, they told Victoria that her next option was to receive a bone marrow transplant.
Our community really rallied behind our family, and our church You know, we even had signs, "Pray for Victoria." So it wasn't just our family, it affected everybody.
And she made it through, and 9 months later, she relapsed again.
Joellen called me, and she had just the worst news ever, and that is that Victoria's cancer had returned.
So this was 3 times she was told that she had cancer. And so we began another journey to receive a second bone marrow transplant.
Victoria at that time decided she was going to fight and entered the hospital for what would turn out to be an extremely long stay, many, many, many months. And so as a result of this extended stay, I saw that there wasn't as much for her to do as you can stay placated with as a young person.
And he asked her at that time, he said, "Victoria, do you like to play video games?" She said, "I love to play video games."
So I put the word out to a website that I worked with called Sarcastic Gamer, and the online community responded in droves. What I expected to be a couple of games that might come from here and there instead turned out to be things coming from all over the world.
And we started receiving boxes of games.
We had games that came in from Asia and Europe, and
He was receiving games from all over Texas, all over the United States.
so much so that it became sort of overwhelming. Tori had to end up giving it away to other kids who were also stuck in the hospital.
She was the one to go around to be that extra person for all these other children.
It just doesn't seem right that a child should be sick. It's not right that a child stay in a hospital and that they're confined to the hospital and their 4 walls and they're not experiencing the other things that children are doing.
She couldn't be around other people that could have any infections. You know, when she was out, she had to wear her masks.
During this time, Victoria contracted a fungal infection, which is from a very low immune system, and she had little to no immune system left.
And I asked her what she wanted for Christmas, and she said, "I'd really just like to get out of this hospital and go see Christmas lights. Christmas lights are something my family and I go see together all the time, and I can't even leave to go see Christmas lights."
We knew that during the final stages that we weren't going to have Victoria with us much longer.
We were only outside for about 10 minutes, but it was a very special 10 minutes. It wasn't a lot of talking. We just looked at lights. And after about 10 minutes, we rolled back upstairs to her room, and we had our picture made in front of a little Christmas tree. And I said goodbye. And that picture is one of my most prized possessions because it was taken just moments before I saw my friend for the last time. And Victoria passed away before I could get back to see her.
The miracle that we received was that we had her for the time that we had her.
I brought her picture, and I just put that on the table. And I said, you know, this is what we look at every day during this radiothon, during this campaign.
Victoria passed away on January 21st, 2008, after a 4-year battle with leukemia, failed bone marrow transplants, and fungal infections.
It was as a result of Tori's death, sitting at her funeral, that I made up my mind that I needed to be doing this, not just a couple days a year with a radiothon, that I needed to be doing this with my life.
Doc wanted to do something special for Victoria, in memory of Victoria. And he came up with a fundraiser called Extra Life. And this fundraiser would be for the gaming community.
It just occurred to me that gamers should be able to do the things they love to help sick and injured kids as well. And so Extra Life was born. 1,200 gamers showed up on October 15th in 2008.
With this year's Extra Life Gaming Marathon, we're helping save kids' lives. You don't even have to be a crime-fighting superhero.
Each and every year afterwards, it continued to grow. Gamers responded by being able to game for their local hospitals. The next year, 4,500 gamers showed up, raised almost $500,000. The year after that, it was 15,000 gamers raising $1 million, and the next year, 17,000 gamers raising $2.1 million. Video games are like the #1 form of entertainment on planet Earth, have been now for quite a while.
Anyone could be involved in Extra Life.
Gamers aren't that pale kid in mom and dad's basement. They're mom and dads, they're aunts and uncles.
A young child to an older adult to a grandparent.
You can take all that fun of playing games for 24 hours and reach out to your friends and bring them to your environment.
Or if you want to play a board game, a card game.
The funds that Extra Lifers raise can go to a variety of purposes in the local area at the local hospital.
So maybe your extra $20 or your extra $50 goes to curing 87% of children with leukemia.
They might buy an isolette for a baby that is born the size of a cell phone and has to fight for its life.
I can guarantee you that that money goes directly back to these children to keep this from happening again to someone else's child.
Getting involved with Extra Life is really simple. You just have to go to the website at extra-life.org, put in a few details in there, join a team if you'd like to, or create one. After that, it's as simple as fundraising with your friends and family. Let them know why you are doing this. They should know that the money you raise is going to stay local in your community.
We never will truly lose Victoria because she will live for all of us through this.
It started with a little girl in Orange, Texas.
And I think that's all we have to say for today.
All we have to say today, so
we'll see
See
you
you
tomorrow
later
at
on
news at
whatever time it is.
at Victoria's house. Bye.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Hi.
Just thought we'd step in here. So obviously the video you just saw was the Extra Life campaign video. Once again, oop, hey, I'm all the way over there. I want to move myself closer. Okay. So starting now, as of right now, congratulations, you are now part of Extra Life. We will be playing, well, some of us.
What? What?
Some of us will be playing for the next 24 hours for Extra Life in order to raise money. You can find the donation link in the description box or the channel information box for our channel. I was trying to say words and I just stopped saying words. So yeah, click on there, go to donate. As you notice, our donation is not our normal donation banner thing up there is no longer up there. I've removed it for the day because this is not about raising money for us. This is about raising money for Texas Children's Hospital, which we live in Houston, so Texas Children's is literally just right here. I've had cousins, I've had family members that have been in Texas Children's, so that's why I decided on this as our charity. It's very important to us to be able to share this and give back to the people that... Hey, what's up, Buzz? Welcome,
Hi,
welcome.
Buzz.
But it's very important for us to get over here and do something nice for the community because we're all part of this community. Tonight's format is going to be a little different. First of all, if you notice, there is her and I, but there is a missing. There is no Mort tonight.
We miss Mort.
We miss Mort, but regardless, we're going to keep pressing on. We are going to move on to the letter. I don't think we're going to get too far in the story tonight. I'm hoping that we can do about an hour and a half to maybe 2 hours worth of at least that. I think it's going to be okay because Ash does most of the talking in this one. It's not going to be like, you know, we're doing Becca's part without Becca. But again, it's going to be a little bit different of a time scheme for this today. Every hour we will be playing the video you just saw. If you didn't get to see it, go ahead and watch it. It'll be our 10-minute break. We'll have to be a little bit more on point because it's like
it's
14
like
minutes.
A thing.
Yeah. Beyond that, we will have a little bit of interstitial commercials that you'll see for the Extra Life campaign. They shouldn't take up any of your time. You can watch it. They are good stories to watch. Now, if you stick with me the whole night until 8 o'clock tomorrow night, you're going to see them quite a bit. But if you donate, you still have to see them. But again, the donation links are down below. Go ahead and click, go there, donate. We've already had a $25 donation, as you can see by our little donate thingy up there. As you can tell, our framing and everything has changed. Let me know if you like that. I actually enjoy it myself. I think it looks a lot more professional. It looks a lot more spot on.
Yeah.
We won't have one for Extra Life very long, but I can put up a different one. I'm looking at it going, man, I really like that. It makes us look like we know what the hell we're doing. We don't. We have no idea.
Darn.
We have no clue what we're doing.
I had such high hopes.
High hopes. He's got high hopes. Please don't say, I know, shut up.
Hey.
I wasn't even trying, though, so.
I love musicals.
I do, too. Whoops, there goes another rubber tree plant. So I'm glad to see Buzzacino in our YouTube chat. Buzz is with us every week. For those of you that are just joining us, you have not been here before. Hello. Hi. This is Flora. I'm John Michael. That's my alcohol. Apricot Droop Fruit. Hello. Welcome again. Commander Root. Welcome back. Positivity Bot. Are you really a bot? I don't believe so. I don't believe he's a bot.
Curious.
I don't believe he's a bot. Or she's a bot.
I mean, if it's a robot, there might be no sex involved at all.
Well, I mean, according to the Houston City Council, they can't be. Okay, sorry. And hey, Slow Cool, how's it going, man? Again, I'm glad to see all our viewers here. I'm always glad to see our viewers here, though, so that's nothing new. I'm going to run a quick clip so that y'all can, again, for those of you that came in, this is not a long clip. This is just the quick little blurb that you can see what we're playing for.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Boy, I'm glad I had the mic off for that. That was great. So yeah. Anyway, it is a good cause. Please do go donate. If you don't stay around the whole night, that's fine. Donate. That's the more important thing. Again, none of these donations go to us. All of this goes directly through Extra Life to Texas Children's Hospital. And yeah, so we will be playing the letter, at least for a while. We are going to play, probably through the night, we're going to play different things. I think I'm going to be playing a game of Paladins with my son later. I want, and probably before Flora leaves, we're going to play Cards Against Humanity at least once. Because I've got all those expansions, and that'll be fun. We'll drag the kid in here and the wife in here and make them join with us. At some point, I will be stepping away, and Haven or Dream will be taking over for a while. That way, you know, the old man can get some sleep, because I'm old and I have to sleep sometime, not just when I'm dead. Share with your friends. If you share nothing at all, at least share the share the donation links, so that people can know where to donate. If you go to Facebook and look for Argent Leftovers, you should find the Argent Leftovers gaming site. Share that. There's a post on there that has all of our information, including what we're playing for, the donation links, the YouTube links here. If you give the link out to anybody, they can watch the stream directly on the donation page. Now, they can't interact with the chat, so they can't talk to us, but they can watch it there. So, stuff. Again, sorry for the lighting things here this week. We have our pretty little red carpet background back here, so you don't see all the lovely stuff going on behind me in my house.
What's wrong with the lighting?
It's a little bright. It's a little bright.
Oh, okay.
Oh, look, no. You go the other way. Ah, there you are. As you can see, we have a big bag of candy on the table.
Yeah.
It's important to have a big bag of candy. It's all her fault.
It
And
is,
I have
it's my fault.
I have liquid adult refreshment. Hopefully I don't drink too much of this because it makes me sleepy. That would be terrible. Hey, I got to stay up for 24 hours.
I mean, caffeine?
Caffeine? It doesn't affect me. I can drink all of this and still just
Yeah, but this
fall in
doesn't-
bed and fall out.
This doesn't count as caffeine.
Why?
Doesn't count.
Oh, it doesn't count. Okay, sodas don't count as caffeine. I'm good to know. This is good to know. Now I can't say I'm addicted to caffeine. I'm just, hey, I just drink soda. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no caffeine in
You
it.
need espresso.
Okay, so funny story before we get started. In my hometown, there's a place called Roasters, which is kind of like a hometown Starbucks. And they had a challenge for a long time of most straight espresso shots. The record was 9. Take a shot in the dark. How many I did?
13.
32.
Holy sugar.
No, yeah, there was sugar in it too. Dude, I thought I was completely immune to the effects of caffeine. I could feel the edges of reality. It's like I could cut myself on the wind. They're like this for like 3 hours. I was just like
32?
32 shots of espresso straight at
shots
once.
Of straight
Just,
espresso.
just chugged them back. It tasted like drinking tobacco spit, but it tasted horrible.
Oh yeah.
It tasted
Have you
horrible.
ever seen Iron Giant?
Yes. I was just, it was a dumb thing to do, but it was, I'm relatively sure that my name should still be on the board, or just a don't do what this idiot did.
Well, did you like receive any kind of reward or any like recognition for that? No. Okay.
No.
Okay.
No, just the people I were with going, you did it.
Good
I
job.
think I did.
Are these the same guys that were knocking over cows or something or whatever it was that they were doing?
Cow tipping?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Cow tipping? No, this wasn't the same people, but... Anyway. So... we will be getting on with this. It is Ash's turn. I am addicted to the coffee, hence the name Buzzacino. Yeah, we thought so, Buzz. I mean, I kind of figured. I'm not a big coffee fan. It's surprising. I'm a programmer. I'm not a huge coffee fan. Well, my problem is if I drink coffee, like warm coffee, that's it. I'm asleep. Because it warms me up. It gets my body all warm, and then I'm just like, I need to take a nap.
See, I drink vanilla steamers when I go to Starbucks, which is basically just warm milk with vanilla in it.
Oh, okay. Oh, makes me mad too because the Starbucks just put out a white chocolate peppermint mocha.
Oh dear.
And I'm like, peppermint mocha is the one thing I will drink at Starbucks.
They're really good.
Hot apple cider and peppermint mochas. But now they're doing it with white chocolate, which is disgusting.
Yeah, that does sound gross.
I hate white chocolate. I hate white chocolate anything. It's too sweet. Anyway. So, again, we have no Mort, so I will be taking over ostensibly Mort's parts, which hopefully there aren't too many of those, but you know that Isabella's going to be there.
If you need me to do the things, I will.
Yeah,
do
I
the
think
things.
maybe you'll have to do Isabella because I'm not going to be able to.
Although Mort did tell me that apparently she accidentally based Isabella's character on me.
Which is funny because she's supposed to be Scottish. So.
I know.
Anyway, the great thing about these games is you don't get this idea of who this person is unless you listen to it ahead of time.
Or until you get, 7 hours into the game and you're like, oh!
Right. So anytime you see us acting like idiots because this person's got, says arsehole instead of asshole, it's because they decided to suddenly drop a random accent on us out of nowhere, and we're just like... It's like anytime you see question mark, and we're looking at each other going, okay, who's it supposed to be? I think it's supposed to be... No, it's supposed to be this person. Starts it up as the other person. Damn it! Okay, Spo. Spo!
Here we go, guys.
24 hours of this.
Good luck.
We're all doomed. Okay. Ashton.
Alright, here we go. Parties have never really been my thing. They're always such a hassle and take so much time off my day. Prior plans and commitments canceled, all for the sake of playing along with others. Oh dear.
High-pitched British accent. And go!
Welcome everyone. I hated them even as a child. Please, make yourselves at home. But Mom often insisted. She'd slick my hair back, put me in one of those stuffy dinner jackets, and if there were any children around, urged me to make friends.
No friends.
Never mind how utterly loud or tedious it was all for the sake of keeping up appearances. To some extent, lies have already surrounded me, long before I've chosen what I wanted to do with my life. Luckily, there were easy ways to tune everything out, and much to my mom's frustration, I always managed to sneak my CD player along.
Oh man, portable CD players, yo.
I remember those days.
I do too. The struggle to make it actually work when you were moving.
Yeah, and like the batteries and...
Breathing, it's like, haha, I'm listening to this song. Damn it. Can't even breathe.
I kept to myself and to my music. Had my own little world. Until I learned to observe.
Sorry. Chicken volumes.
No, you're good. It's a simple matter of awareness, really. Are we good? And for someone with keen eyes, a skewed necktie, or a simple flick of wrist alone could tell volumes about a person. I still don't like parties. Especially ones as big and fancy as the Wrights' housewarming. However, when there's actually a reason to go to them, I figure they're not too bad. Be careful with Shirley, alright? Besides, like it or not, it's all part of the job. I'm here on a mission. I'm on a mission from God.
We're on a mission from God.
One that has the name Luke Wright plastered all over it. You'd think the man would want to remain inconspicuous after his name was linked to several high-profile crimes across Luxburn.
You realize I think he's a mob boss, right?
Who?
Luke.
Luke?
Yeah, I think he's in the mob.
Why?
Just strikes me as that kind of...
Alright. Granted, most of it has gone cold over the years, having stagnated without any lead or evidence, but that still doesn't make him any less suspect.
I mean, I still think he's a vampire and all, but...
A vampire mob boss?
Yeah.
Now we're just getting convoluted, but that sounds like fun.
Well, have you ever played Vampire the Masquerade? Like, there was a whole clan of vampires in there that was essentially just the mob.
That really doesn't surprise me, actually.
They're the ones that were in charge of everything, and they were the straight suit and tie, take you out in the back and shoot you in the back of the head types.
And then what, suck your blood? Like...
No, they just kill you, but yeah.
I mean, that seems like a waste.
There were a lot of rules in that game about how many vampires you could have in a city, and they all made sense. You can't have like 900 vampires in a small city.
And obviously there's going to be 100,000 deaths every couple of weeks.
Yeah, exactly. So these guys were the ones that were in charge of keeping the masquerade all, slight, tight and easy, and they were just kind of jackasses. I hated them. They're better than the Tory. You'd be a Toreador.
A what now?
A Toreador. They were the artistes. They were the artiste vampires.
I'd be a white court vampire. Do you know what that means?
No.
Jim Butcher. They fed on sex.
That would be the. Well, yeah, Tories do that. Tories do that. I was Malk. Malkavians.
Oh.
They were the cracked ones. And they were. The problem with them was everybody wanted to play them as the, the happy-go-lucky, bouncy, crazy people. And I'm like, here's the thought, guys. Let's give everybody wanted to play the child vampire. After they watched, Interview with a Vampire, everybody wanted to be the cutesy little child vampire. Oh, I'm so cute, I'm a vampire. I'm like, you just gave supernatural powers to something with the mind of a 12-year-old and temper issues.
Not a good idea. There's reasons, there's rules against that.
Yeah, there's reasons there are rules against that. But yeah, actually my favorite character that I ever played in Vampire, I played online, and as I pondered Weekend Movie, those 7 birds came a-tapping the chamber door, so please shoot them.
We would love to shoot them.
Caw, caw, caw. We're going to play Duck Hunt with it. I'm going to get a light gun. My favorite character was a guy who, when he got turned into a vampire, had a vision of God.
Oh, dear.
His mother was, like, severely religious and beat him as a child to get him to be religious. He would never be religious. He had a vision of God when he got made into a vampire. So after he became a vampire...
He became religious?
He was, like, psycho-fervent religious, so much, though, that he had full-on stigmata. Eyes, hands, everything. So the problem was, he couldn't tell people he was a vampire. It was, like, against the rules. They would kill you for letting it out that you're... So he had to hide his stigmata somehow. So that was my main character motivation was... A, I can't be bad because God will kill me, and B, I can't let people know I'm a vampire, but I can't hide the fact that I'm a vampire because it would displease God, and he would kill me. Made it hard to roleplay, but it was fun. It was fun. It was one of my favorite games. Anyway.
Yet here he is, throwing a party in his own backyard. Although, having observed the man this past year, I'm not even shocked. He craves it. The damn spotlight. Constantly yearns for attention like a neglected puppy. It doesn't take a genius to figure out why he's nowhere to be found in his own party. But that's not the problem here. What pisses me off is how far his reach extends, how close he has creeped into the lives of the people I care about. Again, like a stubborn itch you couldn't be rid of. Again?
Again?
First Professor Clark. Then there's Isabella. I also spotted Z-Man here a while ago, and now there's also Rebecca. Apparently.
Just keep going. You got this.
All right. Ashton? Becca, what are you doing here?
I love that look.
Oh my, that's utter terror. I was invited. Really? I had no idea you were friends with the host. That explains things, and makes this difficult all the same. As if getting a contact among the staff to sneak a name into the guest list wasn't hard enough. The guy almost ditched me last night, and might have placed another setback on my investigation if it wasn't for my generous tip. Then, here comes Rebecca, another person to mind. Well, it's my parents, actually, but that's beside the point. What are you doing here? You hate parties. I still do. I'm just here on behalf of a friend. A necessary lie. I can't bring my own friends into this any further than what they've found themselves in. Because if Luke Wright so much as harms a hair on either Zach's or Rebecca's heads, there will be hell to pay.
Notice he didn't mention Isabella.
Yeah, but she's not there.
Yeah, she's not. But still.
Yeah.
Like, he's already said he wormed his way into Isabella's good graces, and then he's all like, but if he harms Becca or Zach.
Mm-hmm. Oh, here we go. Worrying about Isabella's brief dealings with him is stressing in itself already.
All right, fine. I take it back. I don't take it back. I take nothing back. Live for the moment.
Woo! I doubt he'll attempt anything in front of other people, though. It would tarnish his glorious reputation, and he values appearances more than anything. That doesn't necessarily mean he isn't capable of it. More than, in fact. And on the off chance he does something, I wouldn't be responsible for my actions. Yes, you would be. That's not how that works.
Big tough guy.
Right?
Well, you can be like the places like, have you ever been to a place? And yeah, I'm a little more aside tonight than I normally would be. I've got 24 hours of this, so I'm going to talk like an idiot. You ever been to one of those places that are like, we will not be responsible for any damage caused to your vehicle while you're on this property? It's like,
Yeah.
just because you say you're not responsible doesn't mean you're not responsible.
Yeah.
I am not responsible if I stab you in the face. Is that how that works?
No.
Cool. There are going to be a lot more people stabbed in the face? I don't...
That's not how any of that works. That's rare. Do you have someone with you then? Nope, just me. I won't be staying long. Well, if that's the case, maybe you and I can... For Zach's and Rebecca's sakes, however, I really hope this will simply be another housewarming. Even though something tells me it's anything but. Call it a detective's intuition or whatever. When Luke Wright's involved, nothing good has ever come out of it. I cannot let my guard down here. Even more so when a familiar car slows to a stop and out comes... Chief? My presence here might be odd at best, but I have an excuse. One that this man handed to me himself a year ago, along with a heavy dose of flattery for the newly promoted detective inspector.
Hey, knock it off with the wrinkles back there, dinkus. Sorry.
It's okay. Can't exactly say the same for my good old boss, can I? Although to see him here chatting it up with Luxburn's rich and famous isn't such a big surprise in itself. No disrespect meant, but the guy is obviously a social climber. What is surprising is the fact that he seems all too eager to mingle with a person of interest's wife. Just what the hell is he doing here? Ashton? What? Sorry, Becca. I need to... There's something I need to check for a bit. I'll talk to you later. Do you have a ride home? No? I had to take a cab here. My car wouldn't start this afternoon. But what about... What the shit is going on here? I told you to get that old thing checked before, didn't I? You can head back with me after this. Anyway, I gotta go. See you. Be careful, okay? Hey, be careful? About what exact... I don't want to draw attention to myself either. At least not until he's given me proper reason to spoil his little party.
Thank you for the invite, Hannah. Husband still missing, I see.
I should be...
I should be. Ugh.
This is not easy, alright? Like, alright, hold on. I got this.
No, it's okay. It's like when Becca talks, I'm expecting to hear Mort.
Yeah.
So you come up with Becca, and I'm like, that's not what she... Oh, right. We're
I'm not
we're
Mort.
compensating.
I'm trying, but I'm not. Like,
We're compensating. Are you compensating for something?
yes.
Oh.
A lack of Mort.
We miss our rigor mortis.
That's funny.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was. Yes, yes, it was. Yes. She's training to be a mortician. That's like, of course that was funny. Alrighty, ready.
I'm afraid she'd be mortified by that joke.
As it progresses, she would become even more so.
She may give me a mortal wound.
Can I flick you on her behalf?
Yes. Probably should.
Okay, I didn't flick you hard. I should be saying the same of your darling Rochelle, Lee. The doctors again? For now, the best I can do is wait and remain inconspicuous, especially with Chief here, whose motives are dubious at best. If it means having to pretend I don't know Zach and Rebecca, or forcing myself to rub elbows with people I barely know, let alone like, then so be it. I can't involve anyone. Wandering is out of the question as well when there are guards and civvies stationed here and there.
I just splurted a mouthful of coffee all over the rug and scared the cat silly. My apologies to Buzz's cat.
Poor baby.
You know how we are about cats around here.
Hey, we love our kitty.
We love the kitties.
Sure, getting past them is something I could do with ease, but I'd rather not right now, when I'm one of the few snooping and roaming about. It'd be best to try and do so once there's a crowd of people. And if their interior designer's drunken claims are to be believed...
Yes, well, what about Luke? Should we file a missing persons report now, or do you want to wait 24 hours?
He's around.
You know, I can tell if someone's bluffing.
It'll all come down to how well I'll play my cards tonight.
Royal
Hey.
flush.
No, I was thinking about Cards Against Humanity. I was like, ha ha ha.
How well do I play my cards? Not very well. You're not funny.
Ouch.
My heart.
I don't have one.
Oh, that's true. None of us do. We're all
Vampires,
dead inside.
dead, who knows, whatever. With a good hand, this party is going to give me the breakthrough I need to crack Luke right, or something to prove my suspicions wrong. Maybe find out what kind of game my boss is also playing. I've had an inkling before, a few hunches tempered down by how much of a bumbling fool the man appears to be.
Oh, yeah.
And get invited to a party they host without wanting anything from either of the two. Or it's the other way around. So, with a last worried glance at the two, I head into the ballroom. I just hope this will not complicate things further. Shit.
I would like to give a little bit of behind-the-scenes baseball here for a second.
Behind-the-scenes baseball?
Yeah, it's a term from when you're talking about things behind the scenes.
Why does it have anything to do with baseball?
It's just something they say.
Okay.
It's just a term. Anyway, so normally we have the air conditioning set pretty low because close proximity makes it warmer for us as performers because we also have the lights and everything. I've got it set at 70. It's like 50 some degrees outside and still impossibly hot right where I'm at.
Do you need to turn it up?
I don't know. If I turn it up anymore, everybody else in the house is going to freeze.
That's a good point.
It's just like right here plus the backdrop and everything.
Do you want me to take off the sweater?
No, you're fine. You're fine. It's not going to make much of a difference.
I'm not wearing anything under the sweater.
Ha
I
ha.
forgot.
We're going to break, guys. No. But anyway, no. It's just interesting to me how I can sit here during the week with my coffee table right there and, my couch behind me.
Well, I'm also hot. I'm a heater.
Yeah, so am I.
Yeah, so that's probably not helping.
But it's funny how I can do that. Well, it's the same thing if I'm sitting at my desk playing games. Like my feet will catch on fire. I'm just sitting there, everything warm in that corner. And I'm like, what? But right now, if you see me start sweating, it's 50 degrees outside and I'm sweating because all of this. Anyway, so we're good.
It didn't help at all.
She breathed in while she was sucking and made herself kind of cough.
By the time the party's in full swing, night has fallen, yet there still isn't a Luke Wright in sight. The man can be quite ostentatious, but this, frankly, I'm impressed. I don't even know how many hors d'oeuvres. Aha! I've already stuffed my face with.
Those are deviled eggs, and oh my god, what is that in the background? I want the deviled eggs. The hell with everything
creme brulee?
else. Is it creme brulee?
I don't know. It looks like mashed potatoes on top.
I'm all good with mashed potatoes. Give me the mashed potatoes.
One too many, probably. The servers are already giving me a stink eye every time I saunter over the buffet table.
Sauntered over the buffet table? Maybe over two. Maybe that's why they're giving you the stink eye, because you're walking all over the damn buffet. Stop it.
Blame your employer, not me. He's the one who has the guts to show up late. Besides, most of the guests' idle talk is concentrated in this area. Despite standing under the same roof with the very people they're whispering about, some just couldn't resist. I might as well keep an ear out for any useful info.
Is Suarez still fixing that tech problem?
Heh, tech problem.
It's been about 3 years. Sooner or later, the blighter will put two and two together.
Ha, he might have already. If the red tape I'm being slammed with these past few months suggests anything, that or someone has been pulling the strings. I wouldn't be shocked. This case would not have gone this long if Scumbag didn't have a mule of some kind in the force. Shush you! We all know Suarez just wants an out.
I knew it was bad news the day the merger with Evans Incorporated happened.
Glad I did not have to deal with that.
But keep it down. Someone might hear, the wife especially.
This kind of negligence has always been an advantage, but sometimes I wished I could be smashed drunk while doing this. Having sharp ears also means you get to hear the most unsavory things. Who cheated on who this week, one person's motive for bashing someone's skull against a wall, or a father's excuse for burning his own daughter alive. That sort of stuff. What the? What kind of town is this?
Well, I mean, that's just a cop. I mean, you go from playing with kids in the street, you know, trying to keep them happy and safe, to picking someone's brains up off the ground.
Yeah. After a few years, it gets tiring. You get desensitized to it.
See, my problem is I couldn't be the cop that, you know, goes to the call where the dad's burned his daughter alive or whatever, because I'd be shooting him in the face. There wouldn't be a whole lot of time for investigation or trials. It would just be like, oh, yeah, you killed that 4-year-old kid. Yeah, that's great. Blaff! Okay, well, that's dealt with.
Bye!
Moving on.
But humans could also be downright awful. Sometimes there simply isn't enough brain bleach in the world.
It's true.
Sadly, the wine is a no-go tonight, and mostly for show. I'm up for another drive later, for one, and I definitely want to be sober in case anything comes up. And something always comes up in assignments like this. A detective inspector dying of cardiac arrest, for example. Because I can feel the moment my heart grinds to a halt, the second I shift my eyes to a corner of the ballroom. Hannah Wright. Some will say I'm acting a touch paranoid, and maybe I am. This is a party, and she's the hostess. It goes to say that she'd take time to mingle with her guests. But Hannah Wright, née Evans, isn't without her fair share of accolades. At least to the public, she doesn't seem like it. Unlike her husband, she's the one with the business sense, not to mention the impressive track record needed to manage a company, or effectively hide whatever irregularity there might be. She's clean, as far as my agents and I have found, but it doesn't rule out a possible involvement with whatever her husband's up to. Hell, Luke Wright came out clean in previous reports until I bothered to take a deeper look into it. What I've found may not be sufficient to bring anyone to trial yet, but it's enough to nurture suspicion. This may be a bit of an overreaction, but no one lasts long in my line of work by being careless. You would catch his eye a lot better if you wore nicer clothes, don't you think?
I still think that's a bitchy-ass statement. I'm sorry.
I know, right? Didn't realize the housewarming was going to be this fancy. I would have gone with a nice dress if I knew. Nothing to be worried about then. She's probably even more careful with appearances than her own husband, having grown up with the spotlight focused on her.
Hey, if you're following us now, Miss Blizz. Hey, Lost Me! How's it going, bud? Lost Me Anova is here. Yeah, but we just got a new follower, Miss Blizz.
Hi, Miss Blizz.
Hi, Miss Blizz. You're not showing up on my chat list, so I don't know if you're here, but if you watch this later, hi.
Welcome. Yet, even knowing that, the anxiety stays, has been here since the party started. I've brushed it off earlier. Who wouldn't feel edgy, right? I've gone undercover in a party hosted by the very person I'm investigating. That in itself is risky and has plenty of room for error. Usually, though, the tension passes around the first half hour or so. I've been trained to remain composed in situations like this. However, with each second I spend here, it only grows heavier and seeks to overwhelm. An odd feeling that someone is watching me instead. It has been like this since last week, but I should already be used to this. People would be looking at me no matter how small or big of a blip I am on their radar. That's what they do in these things. But when the feeling of eyes burning into my back lingers longer than necessary, I've been looking around every now and then to catch the culprit.
She's dead. She won't see her.
No luck. And despite my efforts to push the sensation as far down as I can, tiny pinpricks continue to sting the back of my head, and the ghost of a cold touch creeps up my limbs.
Pink-haired girl says to the blonde girl, I've had a Brazilian. The blonde girl answers, oh my god, how many is that? Well, last weekend it was a Chilean, but you know.
Yeah. Until my gaze switches back to Rebecca and Hannah Wright. Oh dear. She stands there, dark-haired and dirty, sticking out like a sore thumb.
Nope.
Even so, no one seems to notice.
She notices.
Yeah.
That is not a face of someone who doesn't notice things.
Although she's looking away from me, her mere existence here strikes. Disturbs. A sense of tunnel vision binds while I stand stock still and gape at her, like my life depends on making sure she stays where she is. Okay. I feel trapped in her presence until another guest bumps into me, yanking me out of my stupor. Only then do I realize that I've been holding my breath. Before I could figure out what happened, she's gone. A quick scan of the room yields no sign of her. The party continues as if nothing's amiss.
So this is my problem with every horror movie, and I don't know if we discussed this in a previous episode, but I'm standing at a party, I'm on edge, I'm unnerved anyway, but I look over and I see my best friend with this dead chick. Let's face it, that's what she's gonna look like. We've seen her up close. Standing behind my best friend. This is when you take the opportunity to just nope the fuck out of the room. Nobody's going to be the wiser. You're somewhat not supposed to be here. Take the friend and go.
Like, or you know, like, you don't even have to make a scene. Like, you just have to go up there and be like, all right, let's go.
Gotta go. Hey,
Bye. Thanks
nice
for the hors d'oeuvres.
Nice shoes, nice shoes. Want to grab a pizza? And I mean, come on. This is my problem with horror movies in general. It's just people get the serious case of the stupid. And I know that, I guess, Cabin in the Woods or whatever tried to explain it with the people giving them gas. I'm sorry, but...
The people giving them gas?
Yeah, apparently there's... Cabin in the Woods is like, there's a secret organization that puts together all the horror movie scenarios because they're trying to find a sacrifice for the dark gods. And so they can pump a chemical in there that makes people want to split up or, you know, be horny teenagers. And I'm just like... That's a great idea and all, but at some point your human self-preservation has to... Although I've seen people recently without any sense of self-preservation.
Really?
I don't understand it. I have an overdeveloped sense of self-preservation. Like, I will stay out of situations that might accidentally get me scratched, much less murdered by something. This is a situation where I look over and go, hey, Kayla, let's go talk outside. Bye! They can't leave. Scooby-Doo and the crew haven't turned up yet. Miss.
I'm not really one to judge, but I'm sure someone like that would not have been allowed in a fancy thing like this. Could he not tell she was dead? Like,
Draggly hair, skin falling off, eyes like this.
blood everywhere. Like,
I'm supposed to be here. I'm the entertainment. No.
I'm on the guest list.
Miss Dead Chick and her +1.
No. It's her.
Her +1.
Okay.
Lady Cadaverine. Du Montclair. Sorry.
All right, we're having too much fun with this.
We are.
All right. What has the security been doing? Are they really that incompetent? Did they dig up a body in the backyard? And for someone so distinct to easily get in without notice?
Those characters looking thick. I just love how they breathe. Like, all of them seem to, like, bounce up and down kind of in rhythm to breathe. But the girl, especially Hannah and Becca, when they breathe, their boobs also breathe. Like, I know that, okay, so I know that's a thing in real life, that when girls breathe, their chest expands.
Well, it's their entire body going up.
But their whole body is going up and down, and their chest sticks out just ever so slightly every once in a while. It's like they're doing yoga without knowing it. By the way, I hate yoga pants. Just thought I'd bring that up.
Why?
I don't know. They bug me.
You don't like the way they look?
They bother me. They just bother me.
Do they distract you?
No, it's not. It's not a pleasure will bother me. It's just like, please don't. It's like women who there are people that are like, women go out in like sweatpants all the time, and yes, I know women can go out whatever the hell they want. I still have a right to look at them and go, okay, I find that attractive. I don't find that attractive. But regardless of all of that, I just don't think it looks good. I don't think it looks good for anybody to go out of the house in sweatpants. Like, that's just your bum around the house thing. But then again, I don't ever leave the house in anything but like actual full clothing. So
I've come over here in pajamas before for this, so like it's all
most of the time she doesn't have pants on. We're just sitting here talking. She's just like naked from the waist down.
Really now?
Yeah. Truly.
I'm wearing jeans right now, guys. Don't worry.
Well, the funny part is she's so short she can't actually pull her legs up to show you.
Hey,
because...
I did.
Sort of.
Anyway.
Buzz says Skeleton's gonna turn up but had nobody to bring with him. I don't pay attention to Buzz. He's just ribbing us. What, no funny bone?
No, no, it's fine. Now we're in bone jokes.
Shifting right past that one.
There should have been an outcry by now, particularly from the host. She's been standing almost an arm's length away from the woman, and yet she simply continues her talk with Rebecca. Oh, the professor! And your little Becky! My parents couldn't make it since they're in Scotland right now, and Mum says hi, by the way. Is there something in my food, then? That I'm starting to see things? It couldn't have been the wine, though. I'm every bit as sober as when I first stepped out of my car.
Okay, so Lost Me brings up something. No Nut November.
What the...
So apparently this is the thing. I learned about it today. That it's... So normally it's Movember. Everybody talks about Movember where you're not supposed to shave for like the entire month of November, which would be bad because half my face would grow and then the other half would be barren. Because I only grow hair like on the side. If you feel right here and you feel right here, there's actual hair here and there's like half a patch over here and nothing right here. So it's like, anyway.
Okay.
So I grow up, no shave November. I'd come out with like half my face grown and the other half just barren. But apparently No Nut November is you don't have sex the entire month. And I'm like, but why?
Yeah, there's no reason for that.
What am I what cause am I bringing it? I'm giving you 24 hours of my life to help children. What more do you want of me?
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. That's just...
It's just one of those things. I understand people trying to get their causes out there, but I don't think this is a good way to do it. Again, by the way, we are playing for Extra Life tonight. If you couldn't tell by all the
Extra Life
stuff over here. I will be putting on a commercial for that in just a few minutes, so we can take our quick break. But anyway, stay tuned.
The hors d'oeuvres. There we go. But why would anyone want to do that? Why would Luke Wright want to do that? He's fishy, but I couldn't see why he'd ever think it'd be a good idea to lace the food he'd serve in his party with someone like Chief Lee on his guest list to boot. He has been linked to narcotics trade, yep. However, that kind of tactic is below him. That much I could tell. Unless there's a mass murder waiting to happen here tonight, which I highly doubt. So, what the fuck was that? But there's no time to look deeper into this even if I want to. Not when a telling silence comes upon the room and draws everybody's attention to the main doors of the ballroom.
Here comes the scene.
About damn time.
Good evening, ladies and gents. Enjoying the party? I hope I'm not too late in welcoming you all to the Wright Mansion.
I've been tailing this guy for a while now. Before that, I heard stories from previous officers who tackled this case, none of which are pleasant. Mind, I'm not counting the incident with Professor Clark. Yet, pleasant is glossing over the gravity of it. While Wright's good at covering whatever shady stuff he's doing, he's shown to be a really rotten guy. At least that's the case when he thinks none of his peers are around to judge him. I've lost track of how many counts of verbal abuse and harassment cases this guy could be pinned with. Standing in the same room as him doesn't make me want to punch him any less. Actually, the urge is stronger. But protocols. My case, first and foremost. My own opinion of the man shouldn't get ahead of my purpose here. If I want to put him in his place, it should be in a court, with all proper charges filed against him. And I'll only be able to do that once I gather enough evidence to pin this bastard down.
Welcome, one and all, to our humble abode. Tonight, if you have yet to find yourself in your roles, you're all ladies and lords of the court for your king and queen, if you would excuse my presumptuousness. So enjoy the feast that's been laid out for your senses, as we only allowed the best to be served. Enjoy the rest of your night, everyone.
Suppressing my annoyance, I prepare to step away from the crowd. Amidst the cheers and claps, now is as good a time as any to try to find that something the McCullough woman talked about. In the first place, I have no plans to actually shake hands with the slimeball himself. A fake smile is plastered on my face while I pretend to listen to one of the other guests gossiping about him. All while slowly inching out of the ballroom. Unfortunately, before I could get any further... Are you feeling ill, Rochelle? Perhaps you need to sit down and... Rich people only have two ways to resolve their mess. Either they quietly deal with it behind closed doors, Or they create an even greater problem out of it and it just blows up in everybody's faces one way or another.
I still love the look on his face.
I know, right?
The hell are you on about, woman?
It's like he smelled something really, really bad. I don't know. Fun. No! Shut it, you munter! I ain't talking to you, I'm talking to this scumbag over here! You bloody bastard, standing there with your smarmy smile!
He's not smiling. Point of fact.
Not even a few seconds in, and this is already proving itself to be a big public spectacle. Why spend money on a television to buy daytime soap operas? You could just go to one of these parties and see the action unfold in real life. You get free food, too. Really, if I were an actual guest, I'd just take this as some sordid form of amusement.
Watch your tongue. You're on thin ice, Rochelle. Where's your husband? Who even invited you?
But I'm not a guest who's here for a good time. I need to focus on him even through this whole sorry tale. So I wait, I listen, I observe. Interesting, isn't it, though? Ask the chief inspector's wife.
Yeah, that is kind of interesting. Why don't we make something of it?
Go figure.
You want to fight about it?
So we're finally past the party. I guess we got past the party with one of the other couple of the
We
others.
got past with Becca, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Because she and Ashton had that whole conversation afterwards.
Yeah. Zach had the night of.
Mm-hmm.
Isabella.
Isabella's been gone for. Like,
Yeah, Isabella's been gone. Y'all pointed that out to me, and I hadn't noticed that.
Yeah, it's kind of freaking me out a little. The morning after starts off quiet. Even the whole of Salem Well Residences seems unusually still. The open hallway when I step out is devoid of tenants. No sounds coming from the other units either.
Oh yeah, that's right. He spent the night at Becca's house because they
Yeah.
had their little argument.
It's almost as if something's brewing on the horizon. A peaceful night's sleep still does wonders for the mood, though. I can't even remember the last time I've slept without anything urgent interrupting. It's a nice break from all the bad news lately. If it wasn't for the insistent buzzing in my pocket waking me up, I'd sleep in. The ringing has stopped before I could move somewhere private, but sleep has also been effectively kicked out of my system by then. Pity. I could use a little more rest until I have to face the other storm. Of course, I owe Rebecca an explanation. It doesn't matter if it's the whole truth or another hastily spun tale. Although I haven't really figured out how to go about this yet. Unlike Zach and Isabella, who don't usually ask questions and are content with what little I can share, Rebecca's rather quick on the trigger. It will have to be set aside for later, though.
Sup up,
Chief's
Ash
name
from
stared back at
D-Luck
me,
City.
almost as if it's
Baggers
mocking
watch
me.
I
out.
love the fact his phone is
His
broken.
phone looks awful.
Better not lie. I'm a cool dude. Pretty fly
Sad.
for an Asian guy.
It would have been nice to
Sup
just chill
up,
after
Ash
last
from
night and maybe
D-Luck
half
City.
listen to the news.
Baggers watch out.
Sure, it's the same
Can't
thing
beat
we've been
me.
hearing
Looking
lately.
for trouble?
Still be
Better
standing
not
outside
lie.
in chilly
I'm a
Luxembourg
cool
room on the phone
dude.
with my
Pretty
boss.
fly for an Asian guy.
Sighing, I answered,
Sup
only
up,
to get
Ash
this
from
over with.
D-Luck.
Frey, where are you right now?
Now that's a tone I didn't expect from him at this hour. Just thinking how this will go already gives me a headache. Immediately, I reach up and pinch the bridge of my nose to stave it off. This is why I won't ever drink myself senseless.
What was that?
Nothing, Chief. A pleasant morning to you, too. He's probably calling to rag on me or complain about his wife, which is really none of my business unless it affects my case. It seems like the usual rich man cheats on wife deal. Although, I would have followed up on it if it were somebody else's wife. But figuring it's the Chief's, hey, I trust him to come clean if the missus is related to the right shady dealings. This is why I left before they even hauled the woman out last night. I'm not going to go around investigating cheating husbands and wives when it's probably just that. Chief appears to have a different idea in mind, though.
There's nothing pleasant in the morning. Anyway, where are you? I told you millions of times before to keep your lines open.
He did, and not only him. Zach, Rebecca, Isabella, all of them have said the same thing numerous times in the past. But I was undercover last night. A phone call is the last thing I wanted to happen when there are other things I needed to focus on at the time. Besides, we have radios and work-issued phones. Why isn't he using those channels if this is so urgent? You just woke up, sir. As awesome as it is to hear your voice this morning, it really is early. If you could give me a few minutes just to wake myself up, that'd be swell.
No need for that. This won't take long.
Is something wrong? Am I needed at the precinct? ASAP?
Oh no, everything good over there. Just look, kid, Frey. Don't take this personally, all right? You're off to the Luxburn firm case starting today.
Well, I did not expect to hear that either. This must be some kind of a cosmic joke. I allow some awkward seconds to pass. Chief must be pulling another one of his awful pranks. Out of his bad mood or a severe hangover, maybe? Everyone knows that when given the chance, he exercises no control with his drinking. If it wasn't for his wife causing a stir, he'd probably be trashed an hour in at the party. He likely drank more after they threw her out of the ballroom. Besides, his sense of humor has never been good. It's just infuriating most of the time. But when he doesn't follow it up, if I sound a tiny bit frustrated speaking to my own superior, I'm not the one to blame. Wait, no, what? Are you kidding, Chief? Is this one of your practical jokes again? The Temps won't say anything about it, but
It's not that. They're orders from the higher-ups.
Ah, the higher-ups. Yes, my favorite word. Since when did the higher-ups ever care about what the Criminal Investigation Department did?
Ever cared?
That's why I fixed it.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell, they don't give a hoot if CID is filled with cold cases as long as we keep the spending low. When I need to view those old case files, though, they're locked away in the archives. You're gonna have to check with the higher-ups. I need access to these reports, see if the higher-ups would allow it. Every step, every move in this case, there isn't one that hasn't been gated by some authority. If it's not the chief, if it's not the chief, it's the commissioner, or so they always tell me. It makes one wonder why they even bothered assigning it to anyone. Not a single one of them has done anything to help move the case. And they wonder why it has taken this long for even a hint of progress to show. You can't just drop this on me. You can't just take me off like that.
Yes, I can. And I'm sorry, Ashton. You're a good detective, one of the best I've seen in years, but...
3 years, Chief. 3 years. 3 years since that anonymous tech leak blew up. Since Luke Wright's name was openly linked to several nasty dealings within Lexburn's corporate world, some of them involving deaths. 3 years, and I was the only one who made it this far. Made so much progress that officers with more experience weren't able to do when they handled this case. Just within a year, and with barely any help from the damn brass at that. Of course, I'll be pissed. Do you know what would have happened if I didn't work my ass off on this thing? If I didn't dedicate a whole year of my time on it? It would have gone cold, like every fucking case Luke Wright has been linked to. I saved this from getting thrown into the archives, sir. I'm getting close. If you could just...
I'm fully aware of what you've done, Frey, but the Commissioner hasn't been happy with your progress. Still too slow by their standards.
Too slow? Well, what about those reports I filed? I've documented every freaking thing for them. I've given you every important lead I can gather. Isn't that enough?
They need results, not a bunch of research papers, not one baseless assumption after another. Concrete proof, Frey. I'm really sorry. They've already made a decision. They're going to pass this on to someone who's been in the force longer, someone who has more experience.
Someone who has more experience?
They meant nothing by it. You're still too young to work on a case this big.
Chief, I've already done more than what those old farts ever did behind their desks. All of it within just a year of being assigned to this.
Watch your language, phrase. Those are your superiors,
I'm not some damn rookie fresh out of training. I'm as qualified as they are. Futile. I know it is. They'd never say it within my earshot, but from the very minute I stepped into their precinct, the lot of them has underestimated me. From their stares alone to the assignments I get. To them, I'm still just a kid. Too young, too green, too inexperienced. And once they pull that card on me, every argument I have gets thrown out the window. No matter how logical it is, how much I've accomplished, what the records say, or the amount of work I've put in, every investigation they've thrown my way.
We're all aware of your skills, kid. You wouldn't have that badge and rank if you weren't good enough. However, this case is just not for you. Too high profile, too risky to put a good officer like you in harm's way.
Can he even hear himself? That reasoning is odd in itself. No one joins this line of work without knowing the dangers of it. Don't I get a second chance? You said it yourself. I'm a good detective. It'll just be a matter of time before we can close this.
It doesn't matter what I think, Frey. You're off the case, and that's final. I expect all related files and documents on my desk by Monday morning. And don't even try to go touching anything. I know how hard-headed and determined you are.
Chief, please, a few more weeks. I'll have the proper evidence left on your desk by then. I swear it won't take longer than that.
Afraid it's too late, boy. I've already informed the other officers. You aren't to be allowed access until you've given a new assignment. Hell, just keep out of the precinct, Frey. Take the weekend off.
Seriously, Chief, is this about last night? this is about me being at that party. I have a good reason for it.
You were at the party?
It makes me pause. His worried tone, the sudden careful note in his voice. Slowly, a frown forms in my face, my eyebrows knitting together in confusion. Much as I hate to say this about my boss, there's also suspicion in it. Hard not to think of it that way, seeing how he acted around Hannah Wright last night. Is he worried? Why should he be? Anyone was invited. I didn't doubt for a second why he received an invite, even if his presence was questionable. There's something wrong, and I've unintentionally walked into it. All I have is a sneaking suspicion, but when one looks at this from a different angle, put everything together, why the hell I've been taken off this case might be for the same reason he was there in the first place. Fuck. Yes, Chief, I was, for a good reason. What were you doing there? I know we don't have a strict rule against attending functions, but that was... He coughs, and it almost sounds like he's choking on his own excuses? Lies? I don't want to accuse him of anything, yet. He's someone I've respected since I joined LPD, even with his bizarre sense of humor and tendency to procrastinate. He's obviously competent enough to get the job done. He wouldn't be Chief Inspector of Luxburn Police if he wasn't. He wouldn't last years in service without some track record backing him. Unless that, too, is a fluke? And what's backing him is not something, but someone. Oh. Oh, shit. Fucking hell. Fucking shit. Chief Harvey, about last night with a...
Why does it matter, Frey? This isn't about that.
Why does it matter? Why does it matter? I'll recite the whole damn oath we've taken upon being sworn into service if I can, but at this point it seems too late to remind him of that. He's probably already moved from serving and protecting people to serving and protecting his own interests. Whew. Yeah, I know, right?
Jesus.
Damn it. I've suspected the upper brass of this, even the lower rank subordinates in the force, but from my own boss? Shit. No wonder that leak didn't lead anywhere. Someone closer might have been pulling the strings. I might have been set up to fail long before the fucking case had been assigned to me. But I don't want to just give up. I don't want to believe I've wasted an entire year for this. I don't want this to be the kind of news to tell Professor Clark after all those promises I've given to him. I know, right? Like, what
is the link between him and Clark? Like, Clark's been seen, like, twice, maybe?
There's not, apparently Luke did something to Professor Clark. We don't know what. I just want to know, sir, at the party with Luke and Hannah Wright, you were...
Monday, Detective Inspector. First thing in the morning. Every copy of the files you have, I want to see it on my table. Understood?
This isn't...
Frey, am I understood?
What else can I do other than smile and nod? We can't see you. With my own... With my own superior expecting an answer using that tone, brushing my questions off as easy as discarding a dead body. Yes. Yes, sir. He cuts the line as soon as the words are out. You're off the case, Frey. Just like that.
And just like that, we have got to take a quick break. So at the bottom of the hour again, I'm going to be playing the explanation video as to why we are here. Again, we will be having different ones, but this one I think is important enough for us to put up front. So once again, this is the reason behind Extra Lives.
Whenever a family has a child with an illness, you never know where that journey's going to take you. And we always prayed for a miracle.
She was the flyer. She's the one that they would, get and throw into the air.
She was this cute, petite, tiny little girl with just a head full of long, blonde hair. She wasn't afraid of heights. In fact, she wasn't really afraid of anything.
I've got a story just like anyone else. A wise man said, this too shall pass. Oh yeah.
we had noticed she had just gotten weak. I said, what's the matter with you? I said, you're a tumbler. You can tumble and do backflips, without knowing. And it progressed from that to she fainted a couple of times. And we thought it was, oh, she's got a virus or whatever. So I took her into the doctor the next day, and they immediately sent us to Texas Children's Hospital.
She was just, from the moment I met her, she was about 11 years old, she just had a sort of magical presence about her, and nothing would keep that girl down.
Victoria was diagnosed at the age of 11 and a half with acute lymphoblastic leukemia. The cure rate for leukemia is the 80%. When Victoria was told that she had cancer, that's the only time we saw her cry. And Dr. Dreyer walked in and told her that 80%, 85% rate cure. So Victoria accepted that. She said she wasn't worried anymore.
In today's world, we cure, go away forever, about 80% of children. In 1965, we cured 5% of children. So the improvement is unbelievable. And Victoria actually had a particular subtype of ALL that the cure rate should have even been better than that.
Victoria's treatment was to take 2.5 years. And at the end of 2.5 years of chemo, Victoria was to be finished with her treatment.
So during that time, she had some good days, she had some bad days.
When she was sick, she still would put on her cheerleading suit and go do cheerleading. I have lots of pictures and important memories in my office, and one of the ones that I get to see every day is my beautiful picture of Victoria as an angel at our Camp Periwinkle. I'm the camp doctor. I've been the camp doctor for 20 plus years, and I took a little girl who was suffering from cystic fibrosis and cancer, and she was in Tori's cabin. But Victoria would come around, 11:30 in the morning, 12, get this little girl all ready for the day's activities for the afternoon. And she got this little girl ready to go to the dance. I will never forget that little girl at that dance. What a wonderful support Tori was, because without Tori, this little girl would never have had the camp experience that she did.
She feels great. How does my heart sound?
It's a little off. It kind of sounds like a bunny. I like bunnies.
Oh, you like bunnies?
I love them. Okay, you're good.
Okay, thank you. Now I'm going to hand this over to Dr. Frickfack and see what she has to say.
Well, what's your name again?
My name is, Bunny McBunkbunk.
Well, Bunny McBunkbunk, today our breaking story is about a little dog named Arfie. Let's ask Arfie.
In 2005, Texas children held their first radiothon with the Children's Miracle Network Hospital, and that's where we met Doc.
We were doing a radiothon at a radio station in Houston, Texas, and she was the kind of kid that you could hear her coming long before she got to your soundproof studio. She was very full of energy. She was just 10 or 11 years old and was already considered a long-term survivor of leukemia.
Here she is, lying up in bed, tubes connected to her. She didn't go and cry about it or bemoan her situation. She went around to try to visit these other kids to make them feel better. And I think that's the legacy of her.
At the end of 2.5 years, when Victoria's treatment was over, they performed another spinal tap and a bone marrow test. The Dr. Dreyer called us. I remember it was a Thursday, and she said, "I cannot believe this, but Victoria has relapsed." Because of the seriousness of her relapse, they told Victoria that her next option was to receive a bone marrow transplant.
Our community really rallied behind our family and our church. We even had signs, "Pray for Victoria." So it wasn't just our family, it affected everybody.
And she made it through, and 9 months later, she relapsed again.
Joellen called me, and she had just the worst news ever, and that is that Victoria's cancer had returned.
So this was 3 times she was told that she had cancer. And so we began another journey to receive a second bone marrow transplant.
Victoria at that time decided she was going to fight and entered the hospital for what would turn out to be an extremely long stay, many, many, many months. And so as a result of this extended stay, I saw that there wasn't as much for her to do as you can stay placated with as a young person.
And he asked her at that time, he said, "Victoria, do you like to play video games?" She said, "I love to play video games."
So I put the word out to a website that I worked with called Sarcastic Gamer, and the online community responded in droves. What I expected to be a couple of games that might come from here and there instead turned out to be things coming from all over the world.
And we started receiving boxes of games.
We had games that came in from Asia and Europe, and
he was receiving games from all over Texas, all over the United States.
So much so that it became sort of overwhelming. Tori had to end up giving it away to other kids who were also stuck in the hospital.
She was the one to go around to be that extra person for all these other children.
It just doesn't seem right that a child should be sick. It's not right that a child stay in a hospital and that they're confined to the hospital and their four walls and they're not experiencing the other things that children are doing.
She couldn't be around other people that could have any infections. You know, when she was out, she had to wear her masks.
During this time, Victoria contracted a fungal infection, which is from a very low immune system, and she had little to no immune system left.
And I asked her what she wanted for Christmas, and she said, "I'd really just like to get out of this hospital and go see Christmas lights. Christmas lights are something my family and I go see together all the time, and I can't even leave to go see Christmas lights."
We knew that during the final stages that we weren't going to have Victoria with us much longer.
We were only outside for about 10 minutes, but it was a very special 10 minutes. It wasn't a lot of talking. We just looked at lights. And after about 10 minutes, we rolled back upstairs to her room, and we had our picture made in front of a little Christmas tree. And I said goodbye. And that picture is one of my most prized possessions because it was taken just moments before I saw my friend for the last time. And Victoria passed away before I could get back to see her.
The miracle that we received was that we had her for the time that we had her.
I brought her picture, and I just put that on the table. And I said, you know, this is what we look at every day during this radiothon, during this campaign.
Victoria passed away on January 21st, 2008, after a 4-year battle with leukemia, failed bone marrow transplants, and fungal infections.
It was as a result of Tori's death, sitting at her funeral, that I made up my mind that I needed to be doing this, not just a couple days a year with a radiothon, that I needed to be doing this with my life.
Doc wanted to do something special for Victoria, in memory of Victoria. And he came up with a fundraiser called Extra Life. And this fundraiser would be for the gaming community.
It just occurred to me that gamers should be able to do the things they love to help sick and injured kids as well. And so Extra Life was born. 1,200 gamers showed up on October 15th in 2008.
With this year's Extra Life Gaming Marathon, we're helping save kids' lives. You don't even have to be a crime-fighting superhero.
Each and every year afterwards, it continued to grow. Gamers responded by being able to game for their local hospitals. The next year, 4,500 gamers showed up, raised almost $500,000. The year after that, it was 15,000 gamers raising $1 million, and the next year, 17,000 gamers raising $2.1 million. Video games are like the #1 form of entertainment on planet Earth, have been now for quite a while.
Anyone could be involved in Extra Life.
Gamers aren't that pale kid in mom and dad's basement. They're mom and dads, they're aunts and uncles.
A young child to an older adult to a grandparent.
You can take all that fun of playing games for 24 hours and reach out to your friends and bring them to your environment.
Or if you want to play a board game, a card game.
The funds that Extra Lifers raise can go to a variety of purposes in the local area at the local hospital.
So maybe your extra $20 or your extra $50 goes to curing 87% of children with leukemia.
They might buy an isolette for a baby that is born the size of a cell phone and has to fight for its life.
I can guarantee you that that money goes directly back to these children to keep this from happening again to someone else's child.
Getting involved with Extra Life is really simple. You just have to go to the website at extra-life.org, put in a few details in there, join a team if you'd like to, or create one. After that, it's as simple as fundraising with your friends and family. Let them know why you are doing this. They should know that the money you raise is going to stay local in your community.
We never will truly lose Victoria because she will live for all of us through this.
It started with a little girl in Orange, Texas.
And I think that's all we have to say for today.
All we have to say today, so
we'll see
see
you
you
tomorrow
later
at
on
news at
whatever time it is.
at Victoria's house. Bye.
So donate. Just like that. No, I didn't have the sound bar back on. I turned it off just in case. We are back. Sorry about that. Sorry about the not having volume. Click on the link down below. You'll notice we do not have our normal donation. That's why I was doing all this, like, fervent poking. We have all of our donation stuff up here, and it's all for Extra Life. Our donations are not enabled this week at all. No monetization for the channel. Everything that we get is through donations. And that is in the links down in the description on YouTube or in the channel description on Twitch. Also, go look at us at Facebook. Look for Argent Leftovers, the main gaming channel. Just ship it out. Share it with your friends and family. Share it with your coworkers. I don't care who you share it with. They can watch directly on the donation page, so they don't actually have to come to Twitch and watch us through here. We don't care where you watch us. We don't care if you watch us. If you just want to make a donation and cut out, we're fine. All this is for the kids at Texas Children's Hospital through Extra Life. And we're very happy that they've allowed us to play again with them this year. It's been a couple of years since we have. We will be doing this again next year. It was funny because I was telling the kids, I was like, if I'd have planned a bit more ahead of... I planned this for months, but if I'd have planned even a little more ahead of time, I would have got us shirts to wear.
Aww.
You know, with the... I want new logos. That's what I want. I really want some new logos for the channel. And what I want to do is get a new logo and then be able to put that on a shirt for us to wear while we're streaming. So at least if people know we're part of the channel. Yay, sound returned. That's because I'm not smart and I didn't turn the button back on when we got back on stream. I turn it off so you won't have to listen to all the inappropriate things we're saying behind the camera, which is a lot.
Yeah, lots of sharing of memes.
Lots of sharing of memes. It was funny because we were sitting there sharing it with each other like this. And we're just like, we're going to come back on camera and just be like this the whole stream.
And laughing and snickering. And,
like, what are you looking at? None of your business. It's not appropriate. Not kid friendly.
Neither are all the fucks that Ashton keeps dropping.
Yeah, thanks, Ash. Thanks, Ash. But anyway, please go give support. It doesn't matter if it's $1, if it's $20, if it's $100. I don't, you know, just do some support. The best thing you can do, though, even if you can't donate anything, is share this. Share that donation link to everybody you know. Be like me, be a shameless whore, and put your name out there everywhere.
It's for the kids.
It's for the kids. It really is. Honestly, it is. If you put that donation link out there, people can come watch us, but they can also come donate. And that's the more, to me, that's the more important thing. I do this at least once a year. I like to be able to say that I did something, you know, good. Yeah, that I was a decent person. I mean, I can't really give them a whole lot on my end because situation being what it is, but at least I can get on here and encourage other people to give their time and money. And I do know that Texas Children's Hospital has their own Extra Life team that's playing tonight as well.
Well, that's cool.
So, also, if you have a Twitch channel or YouTube channel and you want to get in on some of this fun, you can send me a message. Probably not this year because everything's kind of set up already. But if you want to participate for next year and start generating that buzz now, let me know. Drop me a note. And we'll set up a team that everybody can get together. That way we can tag each other out. None of us has to stay up 24 hours. We'd be like, okay, you're 8 hours, and you're 8 hours, and you're hosed. So, anyway. I'm here. I'm here for the duration. So, anyway, guys, let's get back to the letter.
Funny why this still caught me off guard. I've discovered years ago how different the actual thing is. How far from reality everything I've believed in as a dreamy-eyed kid. There are no high-speed pursuits every day, no thrilling gunfights or exciting cases every step of the way. Only paperwork, lots of red tape, and dealing with the politics and bureaucracy. I've set out to change things, hoping it'll make things better for the people I care about. It ended up changing me instead. Serves me right for being too idealistic, I guess. This is probably the universe telling me it's better to remain the skeptic I really am. Now here I am, standing useless. Can't even do anything but grit my teeth and kick the wall. The bastard didn't even acknowledge my response.
Isabella?
What did the poor wall ever do to you?
Oh. Damn! Okay, that's like 0-3 for me. Terrible. You suck, dude, I know.
It figures Rebecca would be the one to find me in this embarrassing state. Honestly, I don't like it when she sees me like this, which seems to happen a lot, regardless of what I want. Rebecca, now is not a good time. The concern I expect from her when I turn isn't there, however. Instead, she just looks, well...
pissed.
The storm I left brewing last night, it's right there on her face, ready to be unleashed. When is it ever a good time for you? You're always so busy with everything now. Now I find you here, sneaking out without even bothering with a proper goodbye, not even a word. Really, I'm starting to think you're just keeping me around for my couch and my cooking. Becca, it's not what you're thinking. I wasn't planning on sneaking out. I was going to say goodbye. I just had to take a call. Although, I'm not gonna lie. The couch is great. 10 out of 10 would sleep again. Stop it with the jokes, Ashton. I'm not in the mood. Her bitterness is not lost on me. But at this point in our friendship, in our lives, how does she expect me to answer that?
At this point in our friendship.
Yeah. What am I supposed to tell her now? Are you still mad about last night? She merely raises an eyebrow at me, which, to be honest, is all the response I need. Seeing her like this makes me believe those things Z-Man says. The part where Rebecca scares him. Sometimes. I've certainly seen this more than once already. But the familiarity of it doesn't really take away from the downhill turn this conversation's starting to take. Only an awkward cough serves as a way to stall. Okay, of course you're still mad. But whatever happened last night, I really am sorry. I'll apologize as many times as you want. If you want, I'd even kneel or something. Ashton, an apology is nice and all, but that's not what I wanted to hear from you today. Alright, fine, okay, where do you want to start? Oh, I don't know. Honestly, I've lost track of it by your third trip to the buffet table. I wasn't... The drive up there took a bit. Can you blame me if I wanted to grab some appetizers? Oh, come on, Ash, for the whole evening? For the whole party? Please don't tell me that's all you did, because I've never known you as someone who pigs out. You even took great lengths to avoid me. Should I also mention how you ignored Zach? Sometimes I get the feeling you don't want to be seen with us in public. Some friendship, huh? You know it's not like that. It's never going to be like that, Becca. I'll ask this again. Just what were you up to during the party? What were you doing that you couldn't even take 2 seconds to make time for your friends? I couldn't even look her in the eye. It wasn't that I wanted to avoid them. I did it to keep Zach safe. To keep Rebecca safe. Just in case. Client or family friend, it was still a party hosted by a person of interest. By a man accused years ago of murdering a person's wife to get what he wanted. But then Chief showed up. Hannah Wright happened. And Luke Wright just can't be bothered to die peacefully somewhere.
Gee, everybody wants to be dead.
All of a sudden, none of my original reasons mattered. If I was found out right then and there, hell, if Zach and Rebecca's connection with me was found out, who knows what might have happened. But Rebecca doesn't understand that. Doesn't understand what I can and can't say to keep them from harm. It's all in her eyes, in the tight line of her lips, and her furrowed brows. The hurt. This day is just off to a wonderful start. First my case, now Becca. How do I even go about this?
Oh, she's gonna be pissed off either way.
Yeah.
She's gonna know you're lying. So the stretch of truth is gonna be seen as you avoiding the question. And insisting it's confidential is just gonna straight up piss her off. It's just gonna piss her off.
I feel like stretching the truth is at least giving her something.
Yeah, it's at least a tidbit of, you know.
And there's Mort's concept of keeping the relationships
on an even
which
keel.
Which one would damage it less?
Insisting it's confidential is going to damage it far more.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's already mad at him from last night.
Do we want to do the whole thing where we save again and...
Yeah, I mean, we can. Especially with Mort out tonight, we can save, like,
Yeah.
on a whole new page. Just, like, okay. All right, we're rewinding that last week never happened.
Sorry.
Again, Mort is out this evening. We're not going to go through the whole thing because we're getting to the climax, I think. We're getting to the crux of the whole...
Yeah, we actually got past the freaking party finally.
Yeah. So we don't want to leave poor Mort out because she's been here since the beginning and she's my wonderful co-host. I don't want to leave her out. So Mort had to take a Mort day, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
I took a day off from work.
I want to know what a Mort day would be like.
It's got to be more interesting than my day off work. You know what I did on my day off work? Not a damn thing.
That sounds great.
Actually, that's a lie because I was setting all of this up. All the little frames and...
It sounds like it would take a lot of effort.
It actually didn't. You know, setting up all the frames and the commercials and the little interstitials and stuff only took like 2.5 hours. You know, nothing big. Also, I meant to get a hold of you today about mic booms, and I never did that either.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm a big lazy do-nothing.
Mic booms?
Mike booms. Booms, not boobs. Who's Mike, and why do I want to touch his boobs?
It's boom mics. That's how I said that.
Mike booms, boom mics. Oh, no, a boom mic is the actual mic.
Uh-huh.
A mic boom is the boom that a mic goes upon.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure you're not just pulling that out of your ass?
I am not. It's
Because that's a boom mic stand.
a boom mic. Regardless.
Anyway, we're going to stretch the truth is what we're going to
Yeah,
do.
we're going to stretch the truth.
Obviously, I couldn't just say, hey, Becca, you know the Wrights? They're suspected to be ringleaders of a crime syndicate and shit like that. Protocol or otherwise, there are so many things I'm not allowed to tell the others. Even if I am able to share information with civilians, knowing anything could very well put them in danger. It's why I keep it vague, obscure the facts, or when push comes to shove, stretch the truth and lie through my teeth. It's a necessity I've grown to deal with. It has already become a part of me no matter how much I loathe doing it. I mentioned it, didn't I? I was there on behalf of someone else. I was on business, Becca. I wasn't there to have a good time. She doesn't look convinced at all. Although she's the very picture of someone who's at least willing to listen, her glare effectively takes a good 20 off my current years.
If looks could kill, there went the whole damn neighborhood.
So wait, what's the relationship change to?
Oh, did it? Nope, that's not it. That's it.
So she went down a little.
She went down a little.
Although we never looked at them in the beginning, but...
Yeah, but it gives us a negative next to it, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, but she wasn't really happy with Ash all that well. I mean, we could save here. And then... Let's see what the other one does. Yes, loading that.
It's confidential, Rebecca. Oh, you were wrong.
What? What? Okay, fine. You agreed with me. That's the worst part. You're laughing at me over something you agreed with.
I'm just, I know, because I feel like that's not the first time we have done that. That's
No,
just funny.
no. Mort's usually the voice of reason.
Usually.
She's not here. We're thrown to the wolves.
We're screwed.
Out on our own.
Oh,
Everyone's
God.
going to die. You're all going to die down here. I can't do the little girl voice. Much creepier is
We're
that.
all going to die down here.
You ever seen Resident Evil?
No. Yes.
There's a little girl in it called the Red Queen that, yeah, she does the whole, you're all going to die down here, and it's very creepy.
I don't want.
By the way, our next game is going to be Corpse Party Blood Covered. No, correction, Corpse Party Book of Shadows. She's already not looking forward to it. She doesn't like the scary stuff.
Yeah.
I love it.
Uh-huh. They keep throwing me into the deep end.
Oh, this is not the deep end. This is like,
I know this isn't the deep end.
yeah, stick around for when I play. Later on, I plan on playing Alien Isolation.
Oh, dear. Sorry, eating a Tootsie Roll was a mistake.
Alcohol abuse! Alcohol abuse! Not to mention getting my cat drunk by spitting that all over the ground. Swallow, don't spit.
I did! Thank you very much. Why do people always do that to me? Don't do it again.
No, I don't have to. You're just gonna laugh on it.
I have some self-control, thank you. Alright. I wonder how many times I've told her that. And not just her. My dad, my mom, Zach, and even Isabella. Why is she so special?
I don't know.
How many times have I told them what essentially boiled down to mind your own business, to make sure they're all safe, to keep them out of danger?
How about you just say, if I tell you that, people are going to come and do bad things to you?
Yeah. If I tell you, I might not have to kill you, but someone else might.
Exactly.
My job isn't a game. It isn't as glamorous as a television portrays it to be. I had thought so too as a child. I was so clueless back then, wasn't I? But boy, did I learn. The good guys don't always win. Justice isn't always served. Investigation is not looking at a crime scene once to get a eureka moment.
Eureka.
It's sleepless nights at the crime lab with the tech guys. It's several days wearing the same clothes with Chinese takeout stains because I'm staking out a place. It's frustration when bureaucracy hinders you from looking into a case any further, or when you know the suspect is guilty but they get away scot-free on a technicality. It's seeing anger and pain and despair with every case. I know you have a mountain of questions, but I've told you this so many times before. I can't say much more than that. Still, the look on Rebecca's face, the resentment and the pain, it hurts me as well to think that I'm the cause of that. It's a familiar one, too. Something I've seen a lot over the years.
This is why cops drink.
I know, right? I wonder how long it'll take before Zach starts giving me the same one, or until I've hurt Isabella in a way that any sincere apology won't ever be enough. What a mess. I'm a mess, and it's the people close to me who have to suffer for it. I guess, if that's the case, there's nothing much I can do about it. You're off being a hero, I guess? And I shouldn't rag on you for that. I could never get used to how quick she just forgives me for whatever shitty thing I do.
I don't think you're forgiven, my friend.
And Zach and Isabella, too. They've all been patient with me, unlike I with them. I don't deserve any of them for the kind of person I've turned out to be. I'm hardly a hero, Becca. I'm just Ash. I expect a retort, another one laced with bitterness. Instead, she laughs. Half-hearted, with barely a hint of cheer in it, but it's a laugh nevertheless. I honestly don't know what to make of that, what to do with myself upon hearing it. It's almost like the mere sound of it is meant to pierce. The least you could have done is tell me. Maybe I could have helped, kept an ear and an eye out for you. I don't know, I could have been Irene Adler, maybe? Her smile doesn't quite reach her eyes, but the mask, she tries so hard for me. I give her a smile of my own, though I imagine it comes off as unenthusiastic as hers. It's far easier to slip back to banter when it's like this, to just brush off everything. At least this way we wouldn't have to deal with awful things. The woman? Don't flatter yourself. Nancy Blue, more like. Her sidekick would beg to differ, Ashette. I couldn't stop a wry grin from forming in my lips. She probably still has the photo from that contest, keeps it in her old diary. I never did find either of the two after I threatened to burn them. In the end, I just never brought it up again, hoping she'd just forget about the whole thing. But the small smile on her face says a lot. Those were good times. A lot simpler, a lot more peaceful. Now things have changed. We're no longer the same people we were as kids. Growing up together doesn't mean it always has to be just the two of us in the first place. It's a dumb notion to believe in when nothing ever remains constant. Things will inevitably change through the years. In fact, it already has, long ago. Not just with the people we allowed into our respective lives, but also with us, as people, as friends. It really does get complicated as we get older, doesn't it? Not everything has to be, though. Even if it's in the form of a promise, I have no idea when I'll be able to fulfill. I swear, I'll explain when it's all over. The silence afterwards brings an even heavier air between us.
I think he's got some unrequited issues with his childhood friend. It's not just her.
Yeah. Something that Rebecca, thankfully, doesn't allow to linger more than necessary. I suppose you have to go now, huh? The situation's already awkward as it is. Dragging this out will only make it more, what? Difficult? Messed up? As if it isn't already. Back to your case again? I don't really have to. I have no case. As far as the job is concerned, I have the weekend off until I have to report to Chief on Monday. Although I don't want to just throw in the towel on this. Orders are orders. This isn't like the movies. I don't get to say, fuck off, throw my gun and badge at him, become some vigilante, save the day, and get my job back. I'd rather get my ass thrown in jail than do any of that. But it's also not in my nature to sit still and do nothing. It'll drive me crazy if I just idle about. Besides, There's someone who has to know about this whole Luke Wright thing. Yeah, I need to go talk to Professor Clark, and there's something else I need to look into. That other matter she mentioned last night, specifically. The same stuff Zachary has also been trying to tell me. Things even the news have been blasting out to the general populace lately. Evening, afternoon, morning, all deaths with the same modus, blamed on a single serial killer. Or is it still the case? You want to do that one?
Found dead in the early hours of the morning today. The fire was contained within the room and no other tenants were harmed, according to Luxport Police.
We're grasping at straws as far as these murders are concerned. In the first place, I'm not even the one heading this investigation, yet look at me treating it as if it's another high-profile case on my shoulder. How sad is that? Although all 3 of my friends have mentioned seeing something strange, I don't want to go into that line of thinking for now. Not yet. Not until I've exhausted every logical argument I could throw at it. To be honest, though, I don't know how to take all of this anymore. But I've already given Isabella my word. It'd bother me more if I didn't follow up on a promise I made to her. And after Rebecca's claims last night, there won't be enough sarcasm in the world if what my friends have been telling me is true. I can already hear Isabella's laughter, in fact. Figures. What else can it be? It's not another case. It's something else. That issue Isabella mentioned yesterday morning. I'm sure you remember. You were there. Well, at least you're not neglecting all your friends. I know, right?
Oh! Becca, he's only thinking of you. He loves you. I love you, Becca!
Becca, I promised her She doesn't wait for me to finish. With a roll of her eyes, she turns around and shuts the door in my face. God damn, woman. I have no idea what I've said this time, but I probably deserve that.
No, you don't. You really don't.
We'll just have to fix this some other time. By then, her temper's sure to have cooled off significantly.
Hopefully. All right, it's 15 after. I'm going to go ahead and play a short clip. We'll be right back.
Since the day when I took her from the hospital, she never stopped crying. I had to sleep her on my arms every single night. Then when I put on the crib, she started crying, so I had to hold it. I do the same thing every day, every night, for 40 days. So the pediatric came and she said, you know what? I asked her, what's going on? What's going on? Tell me what's going on, because she speaks Spanish, so I can ask her. And she says, something wrong with your baby, but don't worry. So she sent me to the children's hospital. They had to do x-rays on the bone. So when they do the x-rays, that's when the big mess stopped. The whole left side is broken. All the ribs broken. All the arm broken. When she showed me the x-rays and I saw the bone like that, she said, when you change the diapers and you pull in, they broke him. I feel so bad. I completely broke her leg every single day. Every single day.
The bone has something in it called collagen. Collagen is the rebar, which is what goes into cement to make it strong. The bone produces calcium, but it's just brittle. It just doesn't have a normal strength to it. A careful mom unbuckling them, taking them out of their car seat, getting them in and out of the bathtub. Routine daily activity will sometimes break their bones.
She always has to wear those braces.
The nature of her legs are not strong enough to support full-time activity. Kids with mild osteogenesis imperfecta who get, say, 15 fractures, we fix them all and they're pretty normal as adults. She's had so many broken bones and she has so much deformity accumulated over the years that no, she's never going to be a normal walker.
I was about 6 years old and we were going to church. Called my dad. I remember telling him, hey, Daddy, I can stand up now. And I was walking, and I slipped in the water. I broke my leg, and I was crying so bad that I wish that I had died when I was born.
When you're taking care of kids, what is critically important is that you remember and focus on their heart, because that requires just as much healing as any other part of their body.
Our services here with our specialists, our pediatric surgeons, orthopedic surgeons, they have made her life as successful as it is because they've been able to provide specialty operations and surgeries and such that have given her the ability to grow as normal as she can, to make her bones a little stronger on the inside.
Taking care of special kids like her that's our thing. The whole team here, from our therapists to our nurses to the people who check Milka in when she comes in the morning, that's why we're here.
If she didn't have Children's Hospital here, she would really, her family would probably have to move to Los Angeles or, Sacramento or the Bay Area just to get care.
When I saw in the water, it's the safety place she got.
I feel like I can walk because I stand on the water and I can stand and not fall.
I not worry about it in the water. When she was in the water, Mommy, I'm here. Everybody says, it looks like a mermaid. I'm a mermaid.
It's an unfortunate disease that she has. However, I think that certainly has defined Milka in that it's made her a very, very strong girl.
She's just battled through everything and done everything anybody could ever ask of her.
For her and the things that Children's Miracle Network funds have been able to do to help her in her care, it's critical. It's made a huge difference in her life.
Now we're back.
Yeah, we're back.
Heckin' remembered.
She remembered. I'm just like. I
was also the one who told you to turn it off in the first
Yeah,
place.
she was. She was. I mean, to be fair, it literally should not be an issue, but yeah.
But heckin' thing is heckin'.
It's good to not take that chance.
Ah, kitties! I love kitters. Licking the glass.
All right.
Okay. Ouch. I didn't read that one.
That's right.
I did not.
Okay, well then read it.
All right then. For now, I can't laze around. Got to attend to things that matter more. Professor Clark first, deliver the bad news, then that issue with BRC and Isabella. Maybe I'll also drop by Zach's, check on him, hear what he has to say. He also has read that damn letter. He has also been saying odd things about a bunch of photographs. I might as well, while I'm here, playing a paranormal detective, or was it supernatural? I can't remember. Whatever, it wouldn't hurt anyone if I tried to get to the bottom of this. Nothing comes out of this good. Everyone can shut up about stupid curses and we can finally get back on track with our lives. On to more important stuff. If there is something. Are you two done? There's a moment of confusion. Oh, it's...
It's Isabella.
Guys!
I was right this time.
You didn't say anything.
I know. That's why I was right.
There's a moment of confusion when I don't see her familiar ponytail about, only to find her standing behind the door to her apartment seconds later. Isabella holds it open, though only slightly, as if to hide from anyone who might happen to pass by.
Although now we know she's not dead.
That's good.
That's good.
I thought she was, trapped or something.
She's been possessed by the spirit.
This early and on a lazy weekend, I doubt anyone would. But from the gap and what little light there is behind her, I could make out the appearance of someone who has just clearly gotten off from bed. What?
Gotten out of bed, maybe gotten off from bed is a whole different series of novels.
None of this makes any sense. Hair in complete disarray, eyes still heavy with sleep, and a small pout on her lips. She hasn't even gotten out of her pajamas. I look away long before my sense of decorum kicks in. We might be friends. I'll even dare say we've grown closer over the years, but that doesn't extend beyond the bounds of propriety. Christ, even Rebecca never greets early visitors in her sleep clothes. Though maybe it's our fault why she's up this early. Still, heat makes a slow crawl up my neck, one that I quickly downplay with a solid cough. Isabella, you're up early. Lame. No, I'm not. I'm usually up at this hour. You're the one that usually sucks at getting up early, says the person who looks like she's just fallen out of bed. Instead of the usual clip, she simply averts her gaze to some point beside her, and although it only flashes briefly across her face, an expression of hurt flickers in her eyes.
Why would she be hurt? No.
I don't know.
Moving on.
It disappears the second she turns her attention back to me, but that moment has sent a worried twinge in my stomach. I've seen it on her plenty of times before, just never in a manner that unsettles. It feels, I don't know, off this time. I didn't say anything wrong, did I? Hey, are you... Anyway, was that Becca with you? You both sound like Mama and Papa when they fight. You're awfully loud. If we get another memo from the landlady, I'm asking the guard to ban you from ever entering this place. Me? Becca's the one almost shouting. Yeah, well, she lives here. You don't. You have no excuse. You're the suspicious-looking person. Why is everybody ragging on Ash?
It's just, he's an asshole.
Wow.
No, they call him that literally early in the game. They called him an ashhole.
That's just special.
Yeah, it was. It was Becca that, or it was Bella that did it. I'm still in the dots.
You can
We have a bag of candy on the table.
Heckin' bag.
That's a big bag of candy.
It's a big bag of candy.
It's a big bag of candy.
You guys want some?
Yeah. Feel free to take some. Just reach out. We'll pass it through. Everybody will be okay. Everybody
It's
has
not
some
like-
candy.
I didn't think this through because it's not like I can eat it while I'm talking constantly.
Oh my god. Okay, so I got a thing of dots, right?
And they're all orange?
So yeah. Dots are the little gummy candy things. So normally they're different colors. There's
Dots.
purple and blue and
green
and-
usually and yellow.
I
and
kid you
orange
not.
and-
Every single one. I know y'all can't see them, and I just threw it on the ground. I gotta get it for the cat. Every single one of these is orange.
I think a couple of them might be pink.
Is there a pink?
Pink, pink.
They're all the same color. I'm old. I'm old. They're all the same damn color.
I don't know where that other one went.
I don't know, but I'm gonna
There
find
it is. I found it.
Oh, she found it. Okay. I was gonna give her the mouse and find it. I had to move. I actually had to move all my good computer equipment up here since I'm gonna be on stream so long. So I have my nice shiny mouse, and I have my nice shiny keyboard.
And we're still having heckin' problems with the clicking. So it's not the mouse.
It isn't. It's something about the game if I don't click in a specific area. Like if I click over to the side and I just barely click, it doesn't, pay attention to it. So.
Okay. Thanks. Glad at least one person appreciates how I pretty up this place. Don't flatter yourself. This place would be so much better without having to see your face every few days. She follows it up with another pout, but her ruffled appearance, particularly how puffy her eyes are, I noticed just now, takes away from the intimidating effect she's trying to show. Really, right now, she just looks more like an angry puppy. I might have laughed had it not given me another nagging sense that something is definitely wrong with her. What? Has she been crying? That is worrying. She rarely does that. The only time it happened, the one time I've ever seen her genuinely tear up over something, I think it was after Devlin Court, the night at the bridge. I want to ask. She seems determined to keep it to herself, though. Belle, did something... About yesterday, Ash. The thing we talked about? Do you think we can take a look at it today? We? I never said you're coming with me. Don't worry, I didn't forget about it. You'll be the first to know if I find anything. No, I want to go with you. I'll be ready in a few. This won't take long. Isabella, you really don't have to. I can handle it on my own. You'll just... I won't get in the way, I promise. Besides, maybe I can help. If there are files you want to check. I don't like what she's implying. It's true LPD's having a hard time with this, but taking Isabella with me, it's out of the question. Under normal circumstances. You're the one who's going to get in trouble if you do that. You said it yourself. You need information, and I can help you get that. And it's not like it matters anymore. I just don't want to stand around doing nothing today. There it is again. There's a slight shift in her eyes, the mild crease forming between her eyebrows, and the mild slump in her shoulders while she crosses her arms tightly around herself, like she's shielding herself from whatever painful thing there is out here. I have plenty of reasons why I shouldn't let her tag along. First and foremost, she's a civilian. Second, I have no concrete plan of action yet. I'm going into this blind. No matter how I look at it, it's simply better for her to just wait so she won't get dragged into what might be another one of my failures. Her assumptions might be a dead end for all we know. But seeing that expression on her, hearing her speak those words out loud in a desperate, almost pleading tone, I can't bring myself to say no. So I give in, because right there, I see myself in her. The person who doesn't want to stay idle, who doesn't want to think of the problems haunting them. All right, 5 minutes. What? You're timing me? Well, I can't wait forever. I'm a very busy guy. 4 minutes and 45 seconds, Isabella. I hate you so much. 4 minutes and 30 seconds. 29, 28. I'd hurry if I were you. You're awful. I hope you never get a girlfriend. She slams the door right after, although my chuckles, the mirth and the lightness in it linger. With her, those have always come easy somehow, even as its echoes fade and only the ghost of a smile remains. It's not like I'm looking for anyone else. I want to tell her. It's not because I can't. I won't. I'm the one who has chosen not to until I fixed myself, until I found myself underneath all that guilt and those lies I've been telling all these years. Because no matter how heavy the weight of these feelings are, I am not yet worthy of them. Of her.
Oh, God.
I know, right? What the fuck?
I am so sad. I've told lies my whole life. I can't tell her I love her until I fix my... Shut up. Just shut
the
up.
Typical dark and whatever
Dark and...
crap.
Yeah, I'm a dark, broody, but sensitive anti-hero. Yeah, you know what? I'm a jerk, and I'm married, okay? If I waited till I fixed myself, I'd be dead.
That's not how any of that works. Woo.
Oh, I'm gonna fix all of my problems and then get married. You're gonna die alone. Just want you to know that. You're gonna die alone. And if you're alone and you feel like you're not worthy of someone else, go get a girlfriend. It's not like they're perfect either. Okay?
Right?
Just saying. I mean, no matter how bad you are, there's somebody worse in the world than you. It's called me.
Hey.
Trust me. Why would you do that?
You do it to me all the time.
Why would you do
I
that?
have access now. There's no
Mort, I love you. Please come back. Save me.
Hey, I did it once.
She
You did it
poked
to me
me.
like 5 times. Don't you squeaky.
I just don't like it. Makes me feel bad. Human contact makes me feel bad. Ah! Jesus Christ! You scared the shit out of me.
I was gonna hug you and it scared you.
Oh my lord! I'm telling you, human interaction does not come easy to me. God
Me
damn, it
either.
scared me.
That really scared
Yes.
me. I'm sorry.
Oh, now I have a pain in my shoulder. Everything tensed up all at once.
I'm sorry.
Look at the shakes. Tell Mort on you. Why did you do this to me?
I wanted to hug you. I'm sorry.
We hug when you come in, we hug when you say goodbye. If we hug in the middle of the stream, it makes me nervous. I'm not expecting, I'm not braced for it.
This is one of those jackets they put on dogs. Nervous.
Did I just get likened to a dog in a hug me vest? Did you see outside the apartments this week? Like after the big rainstorm that came through the other day? Did you see the one right here on the street behind us?
Mm-mm.
Literally fell and blocked the whole half of the street.
A tree? Like an actual...
Like the branch from one of those trees right there on the corner. And they didn't get by until this morning to pick it up.
Wow.
It's like all day yesterday when I came home from work, I had to turn down the street. And I came up and I was like, there's a tree in my way. I started to go around the tree and there's a car in my way. And I'm in the wrong because I'm on the wrong side of traffic. I'm going to die. Anyway.
Glad you didn't die.
And so am I. Much as I wish for death, I don't want to die.
Right? Isn't that a weird thing?
I don't wish for death. I just know it's coming. Eventually.
Anyway, moving on. Okay. Until then, little words and gestures are the only things I can offer. Minor stuff, such as digging deeper into this thing with BRC in order to ease her worries. I'm not even sure if this will give us anything, Unlike with the firm case, which I already have proper leads on, I'm just going by her word on this. Speaking of the Luxburn firm case, I still have to inform the professor. The apprehension's there for sure. I've made a lot of promises to the man, and I would have preferred to tell him in person, not over the phone. But it's better for him to hear it from me rather than from a stranger. The railings offer steady support while I wait for him to answer. I'd like to think I can do this without losing my nerve. My grip on the bar surely tightens, though, once the call connects.
Ashton?
Not running today, Professor? He's usually at the park on late Saturday mornings, as long as it isn't raining cats and dogs. Keeps him young and healthy, he says, and he's certainly fit for a man of his age with a sedentary job.
Oh, no, not today.
He's definitely at the usual place, though. Cheers and laughter, likely from children and families, filter through the receiver. I tend to avoid the park precisely because of this. No use reminding myself of the could-haves when it's already over. What the?
Okay, I like the game. Let me give this an honest moment. I do like the game. I actually really enjoy the characters. The pacing has been decent. A couple of slowdowns. This is the kind of shit that makes me not like the game. Because they're talking about they're trying to fill in his backstory. And I understand that's what they're trying to do. But they're kind of doing it in a ham-fisted type of way. You know, I don't like going to the park because I don't like to think of how it might have been.
Let me smack you with some of that, whatever. That's not foreshadowing. It's what, pre-shadowing?
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's just not. It's not a subtle way to fill in backstory. It's kind of a ham-fisted attempt at love me because I'm so damaged. No, you're not. You're a human. Get over it.
I mean, they're trying to make it dramatic, I guess.
Right. Reminding myself of the could-haves when it's already over. What's over? You haven't told us if you have, like, the only thing we know about him is him and Becca.
I mean, is it
he wants Isabella.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's blatantly obvious. But he doesn't want to tell her until he's fixed himself. The hell?
Is it getting too Mary Sue for you?
It is, kind of, but it's just,
I know.
It's not really Mary Sue, but yeah, it's still annoying.
Mom's doing well with her career. Dad's also fine the last time I visited. Although neither remarried, they're both content with their lives as it is. I'm probably the only one still caught up with it, hence my aversion. So your parents got divorced. Big freaking deal, dude. So did, like, most of the marriages in, you know...
My parents got divorced.
The history of marriages.
I mean, yeah, it causes issues. Obviously, it causes issues, especially depending on what happens in that whole dynamic. But good God, I don't sit around every day going, "Oh, my parents got divorced."
What could have been if they had just stayed together? Yeah, if they had stayed together, we would have been miserable.
Yeah, it is what it is. Everybody's happy in a different situation, and this wasn't the situation for your parents. They're human. Shut up and get over it.
But all in all, it's still a pleasant sight to see if you're the kind who takes joy in such sights like Professor Clark does.
Because Professor Clark isn't a dickhead.
Or a pedophile, who knows? I'm just, you know...
No, I'm a pedophile. That's great.
Just making sure we're thinking of all the possibilities. I don't know. Something about Professor Clark. Moving on.
Professor Clark is a good guy.
Are you sure?
I think he's a vampire hunter.
We don't know yet.
He's our Van Helsing.
I mean, he might be the murderer.
He might be. I don't think so. Just thought I'd enjoy the nice weather before it takes a turn for the norm again. And to what do I owe the pleasure?
The guy certainly seems happy right now in any case. I almost don't want to break the news to him. But it's better to get this off quick. As long as he doesn't shoot the messenger.
Get it off quick before they can shoot! We're 12, you realize that?
Yeah, clearly. I don't know why you did that.
I don't either.
Oh, there we go.
Ah!
Oh, there you go. He's not the type. However, long-held resentment can change a person. Even someone as mild-mannered as the professor. What? Can I help you?
That was a sneeze.
It was a yawn.
Oh, was it? It damn sure sounded like a sneeze. It's a snon. I thought you had a stroke for a second. Are you okay? Do you smell burnt toast?
was hoping to talk to you about the case. I suppose I'm just the downer today. As soon as I say those words, he pauses, and the lightness in his voice is gone in an instant. Every time we've talked about this in the past, he does that. He's probably trying to gauge the situation based on the tone of my voice. Perhaps it's a good thing I'm delivering this news through the phone. Who knows what he'll see in my face and my mannerisms. The art of keen observation? I learned it from the man. He probably already has an idea of what this might be about from my manner of speaking alone.
You aren't in trouble, are you?
For a second, I hesitate, looking at the dirt beneath my shoes. You're leaning against a railing on
It's
concrete.
There may still be dirt. It may be a particularly not clean stairwell, for all we know.
But I manage eventually. After a long, ragged draw of breath, I pick up where I've left off, though still fumbling with my words. Well, I'm in a bit of trouble, if you can call it that.
Ashton?
He only assumes that tone when there's a reprimand at its heels. But I'm not in danger or anything.
You've said that same excuse a million times before, Detective Inspector. That exhausted rasp in your voice tells a different story.
It's nothing like what you're thinking. Don't worry. I was taken off the Luxburn firm case. I expect anger, frustration, maybe even disappointment. But all he gives me is a small sigh of relief.
Is that so? Well, at least you aren't in danger. Liz wouldn't be too happy if she heard you right now.
Liz. Aunt Liz, she insisted I call her. His late wife. A sweet-tempered woman by so many standards. They were never blessed with kids and contented herself with simply managing their bakery. But she's the closest I had to a mom in the few years I had known her. The professor, too.
He was just like a mom, too.
Oh, yeah. In the absence of my own parents in my life, the two filled the ache their divorce left in me.
Believe me, you'd get an earful. You don't want to show up on her doorstep looking like you haven't slept a week either.
How many years has it been since? 9? 10? I can still remember it vividly. 2 men, primly dressed, briefcases in hand, and a stern look on each of their faces. They were already frequent visitors to the bakery for a few months, something about the lot being a prime property in downtown Luxburn. I think they were hoping to settle a deal with them, but neither of the couple gave in to their demands. Why should they? That quaint little shop was a dream for them. Aunt Liz sent me home early that night after a fruitless wait for the professor. The next morning, news of a bakery razed to the ground had spread across the whole city. 1 casualty. A few weeks later, the property was sold to Wright Enterprise. A fucking hotel now stands in its place. Of course, an investigation was launched after the incident. The name Luke Wright was briefly at the center of it, but with the lack of any evidence, the case ultimately went cold. The professor hides it well, however I can tell that he hates that man to this day. He might even blame Luke Wright for every tragedy that happens in the city. He's never blamed me, though, when I'm as equally responsible. I knew something was off the moment those men stepped in the shop. I could have saved her that night. I could have prevented anything from happening to her, called for help or whatever. I didn't. So it continues to eat at me until today. The guilt. The Luxburn firm case would have been our chance at reopening that old case if we could prove Luke Wright of his crimes. Instead, we're back to square one. Yet all he has for me are words of comfort. To think he can still be this concerned about me after my carelessness, after I've broken another promise a second time. People never cease to amaze me.
You might think that you failed as an officer, or maybe you think that you have failed me. And you know more than anyone, I'd love to see that man taken down. If anyone deserved to be tied up in high court, it's him. But I'm glad nothing's to happen to you while you're working on this. That's most important. I'd hate to get news like that again.
Suddenly, he stops. I imagine a thoughtful look flashing in his eyes as he thumbs the wedding band on his ring finger before he continues. Another habit. He has never removed it since that day, has never thought once to remarry, even when he managed to continue with his life and return to some semblance of normalcy. It's his way of honoring her, I suppose, when he couldn't bring to justice the man responsible for his loss. Some people are just hard to forget.
It's not like another death, yours or even his, will bring back my wife.
Silence falls between us afterwards. I don't quite know what to say after that, really. Should I apologize? Show some sympathy? Going into this, I should have thought of something other than just breaking the news to him. As it is, seems the only thing we can do is feel sorry for each other's misfortunes.
I apologize, too, for putting you up to this.
In another occasion, under different circumstances, I might have accepted that, but
You didn't have to, but you've already done more than any officer who's investigated this, so don't worry about this, old man. I know your department's people all have their hands full recently, too. What with this upsetting news we've been getting as of late. Deaths, most every day. I'm not entirely sure if this has anything to do with the other. It seems too big even for someone like him, but this is that man's doing.
Professor, please. Maybe if things around me hadn't started going beyond my control, the letter, the mansion, the supposed curse behind those, I'd still be quick to blame it all on the bastard, too. But as much as I want to keep holding him responsible for it, to add another to his list of sins, it might not be the case. Agreeing will only cut a deeper wound on the professor. I don't want him to keep clinging to this resentment for much longer. He's already gone through so many years of it. This kind of anger, it's the sort that blinds people. Despite his reassurances, the bitterness still seeps into every syllable he utters. It's one thing for me to act like this. It's painful to watch someone I've considered a second father go down this path. Please don't apologize. It's really all right. I can try to get it back on Monday when I meet with the chief. No promises, but if not, I'll make sure to keep an ear out for any news. Chief said he's passing it on to a senior officer. I should be able to catch a few tidbits every once in a while. But I swear I won't just give up on this. I'll do everything in my power to get Aunt Liz's case reopened for you. Promises. Again, a bad habit at this point. I wish I could do more for him. All this time I've prided myself over being the one to always know. Because suddenly, aside from Wright and the murders plaguing the city, I have ghosts and curses to worry about. Things that are completely out of my depth. Professor Clark's right in one way. Things would be so much easier if we just blamed Luke Wright for all of this. At least finding evidence would be a breeze, and I'd be all too happy to put him in a place he belongs. Although, if he was in any way also complicit to what's happening, legalities have my hands tied. But maybe that's my fault. I might have missed the ticket to closing the case once and for all last night. If only I'd done a better job during the party. But then, the commotion. There was Hannah Wright and Rebecca distracting me from my purpose, too. I'd include that gate crasher as well, even though it's only for a moment. So many things have gone wrong last night that... This isn't a prank. I saw something. See, this is why I didn't want to tell you guys. It's not a joke. Will you guys listen to me first? I saw something in the house earlier. It stood right in front of me. If I hadn't gotten away, that thing might have... Last night, at the party. But it's real. What do you think I saw? It happened after, when I was trying to get away. I almost got stuck in the same room with that thing. We're all in danger. I thought you're my friends. Why don't you believe me? That woman.
Why don't we all calm down first? I'm sure Isabella has her reasons, too. No need to be hard on her.
Shit. If that was what Isabella had been warning us about, if it was the same thing Rebecca talked about last night, or what Zach told me about a few days prior, how many of these instances have I dismissed since reading the letter? How many have I ignored and passed off as some effect of fatigue or lack of sleep? Even last night, a hallucinogen lacing the food is the first thing I considered purely because that's what my training dictates. It's a mindset I've grown used to. It's the setting the gears in my head automatically takes in a situation like that. Of course, I'm not discounting all of that yet until I have enough information, something to form a conclusion from. Proof, in whatever form it may come. Man. But thinking straight is impossible when, all of a sudden, all your beliefs are being upturned, in the most violent way possible at that. Jesus, I need a sounding board. I need to talk to someone, and Zach's the best person for that. I have to go, Professor.
Oh, no problem, but what are you...
I don't have time to stop and listen to what the professor has to say as I cut the call short. In the same second, Isabella emerges from her apartment, fully dressed and ready for the day. As usual, she greets me with a smile, but it falls just as fast when she catches a glimpse of my face.
Yeah, with me too. Yeah, ugly boy.
Shame. That would have been the first comforting thing I see today. It annoys me that I'm partially responsible for the worried when replacing it. Dude, stop! Like, I must look close to a picture of someone choking or dying, because there's nothing but concern in the first words she speaks. Ash, do you need to go to the bathroom? Yeah, no, I don't. I don't, okay? But we should hurry. Come on. Don't forget to lock your door. Seriously, you look like you're about to fall over. Are you alright? Because if you're planning to faint right here, I won't be able to carry you. Yes, don't mind me. I just remembered some stuff from last night. I need to talk to Z-Man about this. Mind if we drop by his place first? Shouldn't we call him to let him know? It's still pretty early, though we'd probably arrive there around noon. Also, what do you mean about this? Is Zach? He was also there when I opened the letter, right? He read it too. I'm sure he's fine, but it wouldn't hurt to check on him, to make sure. See if he'll say the same things you told me yesterday. If he's also been seeing things. If it's also the same woman I saw last night. I'm not saying there's really a curse yet, but we have to look at this from every possible angle. And don't worry, he won't mind. He's probably just watching TV right now. Let's go. Okay, but speak up if you're not feeling well. You really look like you're choking on something. You didn't have to do this for me in the first place. You know, it's not as simple as that. We head down to my car in record time, with not a single second wasted to hit the road and drive to Zach's place. If any one of us, other than Isabella, who knows anything about what's going on, who can help sort the mental mess my mind is, it's gotta be him. He listened to her.
Okay, so we're going to take a quick break just to share some of the wonderful goodness that is what we're doing.
Give Kayla's voice a break. Jesus.
Give Kayla's voice a break. She does have to speak 3 times as much as normal. Now you see what it's like when we do it.
I know.
We have those nights where, especially when you're playing all the parts, so you're arguing with yourself for like 10 minutes. It's like, wow, I feel great. I'm arguing with myself again. Not like this happens all the time. It happens all the time.
It happens all the time.
Okay, guys, we'll be back in about 5 minutes.
When he was born, they had to airlift him to the IWK. I found out that they didn't think he was even going to make the flight, and they then identified that he probably had what's called spondyloepiphyseal dysplasia congenita. When I got to the IWK, I stayed right beside him the whole time, and you start thinking about all the little things you're going to miss. The thought of never being able to hold his hand and walk across the street, never taking him to the duck pond, never taking him the first day of school. We brought in a cake and gave all the nurses cake and brought presents every month. And I said I was going to celebrate every month that I had him.
How can this guy that was so sick have come out to be such a vital, active, bright young guy? Spencer was in the neonatal unit at the hospital when I first saw him, and they'd asked me to see him about a cleft of his palate, which had been a minor problem that they'd noticed compared to some of the problems that Spencer had.
Spencer's condition is a rather complex one. He has a congenital, he's born with a condition where his long bones aren't growing. The type of dwarfism he has is associated with some instability of his neck, that his neck can move back and forth further. The treatment for this requires a surgical intervention, and neurosurgeons are typically the prime movers in this case, and the orthopedic surgeon take bone and support the area, so you basically fuse or stiffen that upper area of the spine. You used to like stickers, didn't you? Huh? Do you want some for old time's sake? Or are you too big now?
No, sure.
Oh, okay, good.
For old time's sake.
For old time's sake, excellent.
Hey, Spencer! Hey! Oh, did you miss in class? I missed in class. That's good.
I treat him just like a normal friend, and he treats me like a normal one. It's really great. There's some perks to it, you know, like the elevator and stuff.
All right, so we haven't got any work.
I've got a buddy over here. He's a good friend of all of our Spencer McKay, right? Hey, Spencer. But this is what's new with Spencer. Let's show everybody at home there. That is what's new with Spencer. Look at that. Holy Hannah.
You always want to provide excellent care for children like Spencer. They've already been through so much. If you read over his history and you know what he's been through, in his case, we did have to take him to the operating room a few times to do treatment for him.
You've got neurosurgery, but then that would knock off one. We've got 6 doctor's appointments next week. So.
Wow, that's a busy day. It's a privilege for me, and it's an inspiration for me to meet these families who just can go through everything they've gone through and still be smiling and positive and happy at the end of the day. In the Maritimes, we are the regional center, and we have all the specialists here.
It hasn't always been the IWK. Initially, it was the Halifax Children's Hospital when it was first opened. And it's been the only pediatric hospital east of Montreal in Canada since forever.
Before I had a sick child, I didn't realize the importance of a hospital for kids. It doesn't hit home to you until you've actually had a child who's had to stay there. Spencer was in there for almost 2 years, and I lived in that hospital, and I became family. I became, you know, just a part of the fixture. I certainly would love to say, without a doubt, that I appreciate from my total heart the IWK and the Children's Miracle Network. This is the biggest eye-opener to me of how important these organizations are and how much they do for the families as well as the sick children.
He's very good for people in the waiting room. When they see Spencer and seeing his engagement with them and his attitude, a lot of people will come in thinking they have serious problems and say, man, I saw that guy out there and I really don't think I should be here.
Humor makes us laugh. Humor brightens us up. Humor is why we're still happy, you know? If we just sat around and thought about all the sad things and never laughed, and where do you think we would be now? Depressed.
So he has a way of disarming them and putting in perspective some of the conditions that we see.
Hey, it's us again. Hi. I just don't trust it. After the last time we had the issues with everybody being able to hear everything, I get weird.
Nothing wrong with that.
About being on point. But, all right, we got about another maybe 15 minutes of this. And then we're going to switch to Cards Against Humanity. And if you have not played that game, it is hilarious. I don't know if you've played it, but we have all but 2 of the newest expansions, so
oh dear.
We have a lot of cards. So anyway, so we will go through and see what Zach is up to.
Alrighty. And last time we saw him, he was dancing with Hannah.
Yes. Yes. So we don't know what happened to him at all after the party.
Yeah. Zach's the kind who prefers to laze around his apartment on a weekend, especially after having a busy week like the last one. The big guy's nowhere in sight, though, when I arrive in his unit. Figures. People don't seem to be where they should be when I need them. Looking around, I find no sign where he might have gone to. He usually leaves a note on his fridge if he's out for the day, just in case someone drops by. As there isn't one, he probably just went out for a quick walk. I hope. Maybe he ran out of eggs or something and went out to buy some? He is out of eggs, after all. It puts my running mind to rest for a while.
He's dead.
He always has to have some, be it for an omelet or something he's baking. Psst, Ash, should you be rummaging around? It's bad enough we went in here without asking for his permission. Chill, I'm just looking. Actually, I could also go for a fucking pie right now, but Zach's fridge is next to empty, save for a few leftovers. All I can do is sigh as I close it behind me.
I need food. I'm going to steal it from him.
If you see me take anything, feel free to call the police. Isabella's quick to shoot me a sharp glare, and another chuckle slips from me, despite the unease in my stomach. But the cheer only lasts a mere few seconds, mostly because she hasn't been in the mood for any sort of friendly banter. It's the silence that's telling, and a quiet Isabella? It's usually the first recipe for an incoming shitstorm. Do you always do this whenever you visit another person's house? Because I have a lot of questions about your methods. Just with Zach. I'm still worried for our friend, of course, and despite what's bothering Isabella, she's anxious too. She's been standing by the doorway for a few good minutes now, since we entered Zach's place, in fact. Doesn't seem to know what to do with herself. But much as I want to put her at ease, her nervous tics are starting to get to me. The manner in which she makes herself smaller, the way she fidgets with her hands, clasping them one moment and unfurling in the next. It's distracting enough that I want to ask what's wrong. I doubt she'll give me a straight answer, though, and the best I can do is help her temper it. You don't have to hang around the door. We might be here for a while. You can sit down. She hesitates for a second, but eventually takes the empty seat by Zach's study table. Aren't we going to look for him? Sure we can, but where are we going to start? I can think of a few places he might be, but Luxburn's a big city. I don't want to miss the big guy if we leave, and I trail off, making a vague gesture in the general direction of Zach's bed. The messy bed suggests he was out in a hurry. He didn't even bother to fold the sheets.
Or take his phone.
Mm-hmm. His cell phone's been left behind as well. Another odd thing when he's made it a habit to never leave it behind in case a client calls. At least the locked door points to the fact that it wasn't a forced exit. That seems to reassure her, but not so much. Understandable. Anything might happen. In hindsight, I shouldn't have left Rebecca alone either. We'll have to check on her later. In the meantime, Zach. With no other clue where he is and no other way to contact him, we have no choice but to wait. Sure, I could give the room another thorough run-through, but I don't think Zach would appreciate me upending his place. Isabella won't let me do that either. Besides, I haven't eaten anything yet. Isabella probably hasn't too. We did leave in a hurry. Might as well take this chance to cool down a bit, right? Anything to distract myself so that I don't just charge head first because of whatever paranoid scheme that comes to mind. Isabella is with me. I can't be reckless. Returning to the kitchen, the first thing I see is a bag of chips when I rifle through his cupboards. After muttering a permission and an apology its owner won't hear, I grab it. Isabella doesn't miss shooting me another glare, but she doesn't really make an effort to stop me this time. She ignores my offer of food, though. So instead, I set myself on Zach's old couch and turn on the television. Isabella's silence may not be too heavy, but it sure as hell is awkward. The screen lights up right as some awful noontime drama starts airing on Channel 9. Nothing like sitting in front of the TV with a mindless drone running in the background to waste away the time. And waste it away we do. The afternoon has hit its last few hours when movement comes from the other side of the door, and Zach's heavy treads break the monotonous drivel from the TV. The lock clicks, the knob turns, and slowly it swings open to reveal a very exhausted-looking Zach. What, did he run a marathon? Sup, Z-Man?
Hey, Zach. Sorry we just barged in here. Ash was...
Relax. Z-Man gave me a copy of the key himself. Light as my tone might be, his arrival eases the restless edge in me. Who knows what I would have done if something bad had happened to one of my friends. If another minute had gone by without him showing up, I might have resorted to unconventional methods.
Like getting off the couch. Only after you broke the 13th one. I can't replace them every time you think it might be a good idea to break into my apartment. And stop calling me Z-Man.
I didn't break anything this time.
Ash, just because I gave you a key doesn't mean you can just stroll in here whenever you want to. And hey, is that my...
It's scary how the friendly banter and easy smile come naturally. I do it even without thinking, and that speaks volumes about how comfortable I am around him. That's nice, isn't it? What makes me afraid of it, however, is the idea that a time might come where I might just do these without even meaning to and offend him in some way. The friendship we have might be closer than most I've shared with others, but there are boundaries you can't cross without the other's permission. Zach's been respectful of that so far, neither asking about my parents or what happened to them. Me? I'd bet he'd say, not so much. It's also this easy banter that makes me wish we could just stay like this. No worries, no problems, just potato chips and the debate on whether or not I deserve them. But as usual, something always cuts moments like this short.
Of course he eats all of it. You know, I was saving that for the weekend. Did you at least share some with Bella?
Don't worry about it. I'm good, Zach.
Really? It's free food, you know. What was it you usually say? You don't say no to free food? What happened?
No, I'm just not hungry.
Although her tone forces him to do a double take, Zach doesn't push it. The question's all too clear in his eyes when he glances my way, though. I really wish I could answer him. Despite my best efforts, Isabella's been unforthcoming as well. What am I supposed to do? I can't just force her to speak, can I? She's not a criminal to be interrogated. She's a friend, for Pete's sake. It's a good thing Zach has a better handle of the situation than I, and soon enough he changes the subject. Where it leads to isn't necessarily the better topic, however.
Alright. But if you want something, just say so. I've got a fully restocked pantry right here at your disposal. Not a 5-star level thing, but it's for an empty stomach it'd do. Just say the word.
Thanks, Zach. Maybe next time. Food is not really what we came here for. Ash, he's the one who... She stumbles into one of her uncertain silences again before glancing my way. There's a plea in there for me to take the lead in this, but where do we start? The mansion? The strange things we've been seeing? The letter? Even I am afraid of what he might say. I can't even believe I'm considering taking a deeper look into this whole thing in the first place, but here I am. I should have listened. How is everything with you lately, Zach?
Hold on, Ash. Both of you. Did I just hear you say that? Is this why Isabella's here? Has something happened?
Calm down. We're just here to check on things. So, did you meet Andrew about the photos? What photographs? Unlike when he brought up the subject of the photos with me, he doesn't hesitate when Isabella asks for it. Zach hastily fishes them out of a nearby drawer and hands them to her. I can almost see it in him the 1 second hindsight kicks in and the realization that she would have been a better listener than I. Makes sense when all I've been doing until this morning is call it a Halloween prank. She goes through each of the prints in silence, her shoulders growing stiffer by the second until she has gone rigid and pale. But it is the telling glances they exchange afterwards that speaks volumes of the things running inside their minds. What did Andrew say about them?
It could be one, but there's no guarantee it's a supernatural thing. It doesn't always happen, so that's a dead end right there. Now that I think about it, bothering that guy feels pretty silly now, but with the dreams lately...
That's all? Did he say anything about the damn letter at all? Did you ask him even? As expected, Zach starts to look at me like I've grown a second head. Yeah, I would too if there was ever a universe where I was standing in front of myself, because even as a child, I never believed in ghost stories. The lucky charms and mystical objects from my mother have often been stored away or given as paltry gifts to those who would appreciate them more.
Yeah, that's really everything. Letter kind of slipped my mind. The photos were more important at that time. There was some stuff about the local horror stories, though. Talked about the curses, and he was really fascinated with this story about a wraith asking for a sacrifice to move on. Kind of nasty if you ask me, but it does make sense if you simply go along with it. I'm not sure how this will help in the grand scheme of things. Why are you asking about this anyway?
Rose's death isn't just a coincidence, Zach. It may have something to do with... I may have...
Wait. Stop right there for a sec, Bella. I thought you ain't buying this stuff, Ash. Just the other day you said the exact same thing. Granted.
Granted, I haven't eliminated every single possibility here yet, but what else is there to go off on from here? The worried look Zach shoots my way doesn't help one bit in helping me gather my thoughts either, when that's what I came here for. Somehow everyone's suddenly just so worried about me. It's not like I'm pulling this out of my ass. I still don't, but even Rebecca, out of all people, claims there's something. Whatever this is, someone has got to look into it. Everything about this screams shady. And along with Isabella's warnings, what's occurring around Zach? What's happening around Luxbourne since Isabella found the letter? Have you two seen the news this morning? Zach's puzzled expression is enough answer. Of course he hasn't. Another night, another nightmare. The guy most likely went out as soon as he got out of bed to shake the images off. The memories have never really left him. Isabella, though. I haven't, actually. Mama called and I was busy. That could easily mean anything. Did her Kuya, her older brother, end up in jail again? She's had to bail him out numerous times in the past, though all that did was piss her off, not sap out every ounce of cheer in her. Or is it that the other brother, the younger one who keeps insisting that he'll quit school so she could come home? That was 2 years ago. As far as I know, she already sorted that one out. It couldn't have been her father, right? With the mansion sale, she's earned enough to cover every bill for a while. It should. So, what is it then? No problem. It should be in the afternoon news as well. Whatever's bugging her, I doubt it's something meant for casual discussion, else she would have mentioned it sooner. Tucking my curiosity for later, I take the remote and begin cycling through the channels. A distraction. Not a good one, I admit, but it's definitely better than leaving her to brood. Eventually, I find one doing a recap of this morning's reports. And there it is. The poor guy is unidentifiable with how badly his body's been burnt. Murder via arson?
That'd be the logical explanation if I was the officer looking into it.
There we go. That'd be, yeah. Okay.
Oh, woo. Good job.
That was painful.
Yeah, it was.
Except they couldn't find the source of the fire. Fire didn't even spread.
Found dead in the hour. Found dead in the early hours of the morning today. The fire was contained within the room and no other tenants were harmed, according to the Luxembourg police.
Oh, they're going to consider spontaneous human combustion soon enough if they don't find anything else. But what's important for everyone to note is the state of the room.
A similar writing was found in another victim's room from last week's incident. Both were employees of Briar Realty Corporation. LBN has reached out to the...
Like what happened to Cooper. Hell, I wonder how many other deaths like this that I've missed while I've been looking into Wright. The LPD's already thinking it's a serial killer at this point. How long until they consult with the London Metropolitan, I'm not sure. The Anselm Butcher has always been an enigma, even to the people within this city. Gone for a few years, then in the next, one body after another is found.
He bores her.
I'm not bored.
Serial killer? Yeah.
It's really hard to talk this low.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, when I'm trying to do Zach, I have to drop down way out of my normal register, too.
Yeah. Merely handling the case has apparently driven the chief inspector insane years ago. He never did find out who committed those murders. Maybe now, this time. This is because of that thing, isn't it? I did this somehow. We've done this already, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, see, every time y'all were saying that we didn't get past the party, I remember this scene because it's after Zach gets up and he does the filming for Hannah, and then there's the party and they dance, and then he wakes up with the nightmares and leaves and comes back. It's after he does the darkroom development, and then it gets weird.
Okay.
So then he comes back in. From Zach's point of view, he came back in and found them sitting in his house.
Yeah, that's right.
So we have done all of this. So.
Yeah. Her words all come out like a whisper, but each syllable lingers in the air, heavy with her guilt. In the thick tension of the room, they strike harsher than any of the things we've said. However, she also has to understand, that she isn't the only one on this. No one has asked her to take this upon herself. Rebecca won't. Zach won't. I sure as hell won't.
It ain't too late. We can still fix this. There's 3 of us here. 4 if you count Rebecca.
No, she's staying away from this. I don't want to involve her in this any more than I already have. Both of you as well. I already said it. That's completely out of the question. Stop asking. Encouragements aside, this is still a whole fucking mess, and we're in it blind. The only way to make it worse is if we start running around like a bunch of headless chickens. But I have a concrete plan now, I think. Maybe Isabella's right. Maybe we should dig deeper into BRC itself. Maybe we are looking at it the wrong way. However, my suspicions are mine for the moment. The details are something Zach doesn't need to know until I have something to show. It's enough that he's aware that I have an idea in mind. For his part, Z-Man doesn't push it, and nothing but a heavy silence leads our departure hours later. Seriously, Zach would probably make a more responsible officer than me if he only had the heart to join the force.
Okay, and that's where we're going to end the letter for this week. Mainly because she's getting exhausted just trying to read all of it. It's literally been you all night so far.
Well, yeah, and I keep yawning mid-sentence. Sorry about that, guys.
Hi-ya.
And I know I have weird yawns. Apparently they sound like sneezes.
Yeah, they do. They sound like sneezes. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to play the reason for Extra Life. I know some of you have seen it before. Just stick with us. It's time for our break. When we come back, we will be playing. I've got to get it from over here. Cards Against Humanity.
Woo! That's a big box.
That is a big box. It's the bigger, blacker box. So I got a little bit of setup here, so if we're not back right away, stand by. We will be back. And we'll get back to doing the letter next week, and hopefully Mort will be back with us.
Did you save?
She should.
I think you might have. Oh.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did.
Sorry.
Hey, it's okay. It's all right. So if you stick around, watch the video, give you time to grab a drink, give us time to grab a drink, and we will get everything set up, hopefully, and be back momentarily.
Whenever a family has a child with an illness, you never know where that journey's going to take you. And we always prayed for a miracle.
She was the flyer. She's the one that they would, get and throw into the air.
She was this cute, petite, tiny little girl with just a head full of long blonde hair. She wasn't afraid of heights. In fact, she wasn't really afraid of anything.
I've got a story just like anyone else. A wise man said, this too shall pass. Oh yeah. High and on, I'm gonna go all the way this time.
We had noticed she had just gotten weak. I said, what's the matter with you? I said, you're a tumbler. You can tumble and do backflips, without knowing. And it progressed from that to she fainted a couple of times. And we thought it was, oh, she's got a virus or whatever. So I took her into the doctor the next day, and they immediately sent us to Texas Children's Hospital.
She was just, from the moment I met her, she was about 11 years old, she just had a sort of magical presence about her, and nothing would keep that girl down.
Victoria was diagnosed at the age of 11 and a half with acute lymphoblastic leukemia. The cure rate for leukemia is the 80%. When Victoria was told that she had cancer, that's the only time we saw her cry. And Dr. Dreyer walked in and told her that 80%, 85% rate cure. So Victoria accepted that. She said she wasn't worried anymore.
In today's world, we cure, go away forever, about 80% of children. In 1965, we cured 5% of children. So the improvement is unbelievable. And Victoria actually had a particular subtype of ALL that the cure rate should have even been better than that.
Victoria's treatment was to take 2.5 years. And at the end of 2.5 years of chemo, Victoria was to be finished with her treatment.
So during that time, she had some good days, she had some bad days.
When she was sick, she still would put on her cheerleading suit and go do cheerleading. I have lots of pictures and important memories in my office, and one of the ones that I get to see every day is my beautiful picture of Victoria as an angel at our Camp Periwinkle. I'm the camp doctor. I've been the camp doctor for 20 plus years, and I took a little girl who was suffering from cystic fibrosis and cancer, and she was in Tori's cabin. But Victoria would come around, 11:30 in the morning, 12, get this little girl all ready for the day's activities for the afternoon. And she got this little girl ready to go to the dance. I will never forget that little girl at that dance. What a wonderful support Tori was, because without Tori, this little girl would never have had the camp experience that she did.
She feels great. How does my heart sound?
It's a little off. It kind of sounds like a bunny.
Oh.
I like bunnies.
Oh, you like bunnies?
I love them. Okay, you're good.